Hello, good morning, y'all. My name is Dafe MKD. I'm making my prediction for Manchester versus Crystal Palace. Manchester United 2, Crystal Palace 1. Manchester United 2, Crystal Palace 1. So the game shall end 2-1. Manchester United to win. Yeah, I'm a great Manchester United fan. Love Manchester United. Yeah, big fun there.
Back again, my prediction against Crystal Palace Old Trafford. Listen, I'm going for a win. I mean, it's hard to go for a win when United aren't playing that well, not scoring goals. But 2-0 win United. Up the red and up the paddock.
And Charlie here. So, for my prediction, I'm going to go for a 1-0 Man United win over Crystal Palace. I know our form against Palace hasn't really been great over the last 2 seasons. We've drawn 1 and lost 2, and we've conceded 5 goals and not even scored 1. But I reckon that we'll get a late penalty. Ahmad will go down in the box, and I reckon Bruno's going to tap it home for a 1-0 penalty decision. Up the paddock.
Hey, Paddock. My pre-match predictions: United 2, Palace 1. Xerxes and Ahmad are going to get the goals. 3 points. Up the paddock, up United. Let's go.
Hi guys, hope you're well. So you've asked for a prediction for tomorrow's game against Palace, and to be honest, this one was difficult to predict. We're both in very similar situations and form this season, but I look at their injuries to key players like Wharton and Eze, and I look at Thursday's game against FCSB, where creatively we were so much better than I've seen us under Amorim. And I look at our solid defence that we've had since Amorim came in. That 3-4-3, I think, is really starting to take shape. Mainu in that 10 really works creatively. I'm not going to say we're going to score loads because we still have striker issues. We still have slight creativity issues. But I think we've worked on something here, and we have some kind of momentum with the philosophy and with the idea. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 win. Fingers crossed. Come on, the boys.
Hi guys, how are you all doing? Decent result in the Europa League. No round of 16 playoffs, just straight through. Looking positive under Amorim lately. Got a few results strung together now. I know they're not the best opposition and they weren't amazing performances, but after what happened at the start of the season, I think we'll all take some wins. Crystal Palace, tough team. Not a massive turnaround between games, so I'll probably say it'll be a tough one. Maybe a 2-1 win. Cheers.
Hello guys, this is Radu. I'm from Romania. Great win against FCSB 2 days ago. Let's hope we continue our form and beat Crystal Palace 3-0, I hope. Garnacho, Ahmad, and Xerxes. Up the Reds!
Good afternoon and happy Chinese New Year if you're out there celebrating. It's part of the reason why the show's a little bit late because I was stuck in the traffic. But Manchester United, 1 loss in, 7 now?
It's something along them lines. It's one of those, it's not necessarily felt like it, but
that's what I want to talk about, Ronaldo, because everyone's doom and gloom, man.
United on a results basis, I feel like performances have been, I think the Brighton game was more like the aberration there. Everyone was like kind of soured the rest of the performances around it and the results, but outside of that, we've seen some good things, we've still seen some bad things, but for me, I don't know what you think, but I feel like it's just going to be hard to judge completely with the current personnel group. But I don't know, I'm trying to be a little bit more confident, but I was always a big believer that if we weren't very active in his transfer window, like the rest of the season could be difficult.
Yeah, I mean, we can only take it in the context of results as well as where we are, because he's only been in the job for a while. And Finn's joined us. We've not been on the show before, Finn. I believe you're the expertise on all things academy.
Any young players, I can bring that knowledge there.
Okay.
We've got Eli Harrison on the bench, so we can talk about that. Great young keeper. Obviously, not going to get minutes or anything like that, but it's always good to see. And yeah.
How are you feeling, Finn, for the Amorim time he's been in charge? Started shaky, but now obviously the turn of the year.
I've got so much faith in him. I'm really, really happy that we brought him in, and he keeps saying it. We're going to suffer, and we've seen that we're suffering, but it's part of the process. And I think he's shown enough at Sporting in terms of his philosophy with bringing up young players and, you know, implementing an actual identity and going toe to toe with some of the best European sides in the Champions League. I've got absolute full faith with him, and it's gonna take time. We might not see, you know, a complete performance this season because the personnel doesn't allow for it, and obviously it takes time to implement that style. But I'm really confident that eventually we're going to get to that point with Amorim where, you know, we've got no doubts that he's the man for the job.
So what you're saying is we're going to win the Europa League and beat Palace today?
Yeah.
Fantastic news.
Because I'm looking at, people have obviously got their backs up a little bit about the 5 defender formation, especially when when both of the wing backs are full backs.
Yeah.
Sometimes it makes us look a little bit tepid going forward. Do you think it's a matter of no choice really until obviously the next game where we're hoping Dorgu will be available?
Definitely, because you look at his sporting teams, it's not like he was playing with a 5 at the back. I think that's a misappropriation of what he actually wants to do. I think we've just seen what seems like a more defensive formation because we don't have the attacking wing backs to you know, look more like an attacking team. But yeah, with Dorgu coming in, obviously we've heard that Kwenda's likely to sign in summer. These kind of players will completely change our wing play, and I think some fans will have to look past the fact that it's not a traditional 4-3-3 or 4-2-2 that we're used to seeing at United with wingers being at the heart of things. But I think we can still see some really exciting wing play, and it's mainly personnel based.
Yeah, I think we're in a really interesting space, obviously, when it comes to United, the rebuild and transfers and any type of acquisitions that we do get, because you got, on the other hand, it feels like United need to go down the route of signing younger players with a little bit more potential and kind of bed in a young, exciting core that way and see if they develop into something better. But then at the same time, you've got some sections of the fan base thinking we need players that are ready to make an immediate impact now and kind of just almost propel the team forward, which young players usually can't. I think people are after that almost like Bruno Fernandes type of game-changing signing, but then we don't actually have the finances for that. So for me, I feel like no matter what we do in the window, whether it's this window or summer, especially with PSR and FFP, I feel like sections of the fan base are going to be unhappy, because I think if it was up to us, they thought we could get a couple of players that raise a ceiling, but they want also to get young stars as well. Because I think I've seen a lot of people say Patrick Dorgu, Matis Tell, obviously Kwenda, these are all young talented players, but everyone's like, are they going to be able to like propel us now?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult conversation, but I think it's important to realise that where we are right now, we are probably not going to be the team we want to be for a long time. It could take 2 or 3 seasons, and that's not fun for anyone. But it's more sustainable to do it in a way that sets you up for long-term success, rather than what we've seen under the Glazers for the last 10 years, which is trying to plug gaps with big name signings that you think are going to come in, and maybe they will have like a great short-term impact, but they don't set you up for long-term success. And I think it's important that we do it the right way, and that we rebuild in a way that, you know, the age profile of the squad aligns with each other, rather than buying 5 30-year-olds and 5 18-year-olds. Recruit in a way that sets you up so that in 5 or 6 years' time, you've got a squad on you that can really compete.
The most successful teams, though, are built on that sort of foundation. Yeah. I mean, you put the perfect analogy there. We've been finding like old mercenaries up front or whatever, giving them all the money in the world for 2 years worth of return, and it's just not sustainable to do that. But we are going to be looking at getting a striker in at some point, but that's going to be the big talking point today. Ronaldo, let's look at that. Is Fernandes playing as a false nine? How are you seeing it?
I thought possibly it looks to me like Bruno could be a false 9. I think Garnacho is probably the least suited out of the 3 to play there, if I'm honest. I thought he's obviously a good runner, very much like a volume player, but I feel like with his back to goal, I can't see Garnacho doing that. Do you know what I mean? And it's whether obviously he's got the running and behind threat, but I just don't feel like he's as suited to that as maybe someone like Ahmad. I think Ahmad probably has a little bit more versatility to his game in that way. But then again, I'm massively guessing here. I couldn't honestly tell you out of them 3 who will start up front. But I feel like Bruno false 9 against the Palace side, who are probably going to match up with us formation-wise today. It's still a confusing one for me. I don't know. I'm more likely to believe that it will be Ahmad that's up front, if I'm going to guess. Is
that a message in any way? Obviously, there's lots of rumours about strikers and what we need. Is it a message to the board, do you think? Were you surprised that we're not actually starting either Xerxes or Højlund?
I think people aren't really that surprised, because there's been huge criticism for both players. I think largely the discourse over the past month and a half, probably most of the season actually, has been both of United's forwards are basically performing poorly or are poor. So it's quite an indictment on obviously them two as players, but also the recruitment maybe that United have 2 strikers and basically if you're Højlund or Xerxes and you're like a winger or a midfielder is starting ahead of me up front, it's probably a bit of pill to swallow.
Yeah, both looking at each other like the Spider-Man meme up there, right?
Yeah.
What have you made of the starting lineup?
I think I'm just as confused as Ronnie, to be honest. I wouldn't be upset with any of those front 3 being the striker, if we can call it that. I think it's also possible that we see Kobe in one of the 10 positions based on Amorim's comments after the Europa League game. And I think I agree with you, Ronnie, that I could probably see Ahmad being the most likely out of the 3 to be through the middle. And then we might see Bruno drop into the pivot. But it could also be Garnacho. It's not somewhere we've seen him play, but he gets off more shots than anyone in the squad. Obviously, like you said, the hold-up play isn't necessarily there with him. But I'm not too fussed, to be honest. I'm happy with any of them to be through the middle here. I don't think it really makes a massive difference as long as we play well as a team.
Are you more confident that with that team scoring than it would be if we had a Højlund or Xerxes? Is this the better option, would you say?
I don't know if I'd go that far, but I think it might be necessary for them to realise, right, I'm out of the squad, I really need to, get my act together and come and have an impact maybe off the bench. So it might be the right kind of motivation they need to come in and have the impact that we're expecting from them. So I do struggle to see the goals in that side, but then again, it's not like it would be that different if you did have a Xerxes or a Højlund based on their form.
Yeah, I mean, this is just the producer Ethan's take on what the starting 11 is going to look like in terms of where they're setting up on the pitch. I think Mainoo will be pushed forward though, Ronnie, after the performance midweek. I mean, and Amorim was waxing lyrical. It seemed a little bit strange to drop him back deep after that.
Yeah, but he did. I think he was a little bit coy though. He almost said yes, he's shown the ability to play as a 10. He's saying he struggled defensively in a pivot, but I was getting the vibe where he's not necessarily giving up on him playing there. I think he's just showing that with Mainoo now we've got options. But he very much strikes me a manager that wants to improve a player in a position rather than just shun him to somewhere else because he doesn't feel like they fit. And I think that's where, especially with Mainoo only being 19 and he's still got so much development to go, he probably can get fitter, he can probably get a little bit sharper in that sense, he can probably improve his like defensive awareness. But for me, I think Mainoo is very much someone that can play in a pivot and can learn because of the ability that he does have. Obviously, he's a player that I'm a big fan of. Someone that Finn was waxing lyrical about since he was about 8 years old. So, but Mainoo in the 10 for me, that's something that I wanted to see within this system, and I was glad to see it because I think if I can think about literally every single bit of Mainoo's best moments for United, I feel like he'll come in that kind of left channel, like 10 area anyway. Yeah. And then I think he's shown the quality that he can produce in those areas in the week. But if he's in the midfield pivot again, it wouldn't necessarily be a surprise. But I reckon in this system, he probably suits the 10 a little bit more.
I always think with Mainoo, as well as more of his natural attributes are in that number 10 position. Obviously, he likes the ball close to him, he can play in tight spaces and stuff. Whereas if he does play that double pivot, it's a bit more of a learning game for him. Finn, what would you say is his best position?
For now, I definitely see one of those 10 positions as being where he can be most effective and influential in the game. I've been having a debate with Carl Anker from The Athletic for the last couple of weeks because he's of the opinion that, you should keep him in the midfield, allow him to learn the intricacies of that position, and that's more sustainable for his long-term ceiling. And then the other argument is that, well, he's better maximised and platformed at number 10 for now. And so there's two sides of that coin. I'm definitely leaning towards just play him where he can be most influential. I think during the academy days for him, a lot of the time he broke through on the wing. He played at striker in some of the younger years, and he did kind of act as more of a number 10 in a lot of performances. And if you think back to some of his biggest moments in United's first team, like that goal against City, the last-minute winner against Wolves, that brilliant performance against Liverpool, where he was just taking the mick on the left wing, that's where a lot of his best actions seem to come from.
Yeah.
And so for me, it makes total sense to platform him in a position where he's able to express himself. And like Amorim said, he looked like he enjoyed himself. That's the biggest thing. He should look like he's enjoying himself.
Yeah, he does seem a little bit shackled when he's playing deeper, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And that idea of him running back, and then there's also the physicality of Mainoo when he's coming up against sort of bigger central midfielders. But he does embrace the game a lot more when he's looking at goal rather than looking back against it. There's a different interpretation. That seems a little bit more like Ronnie that I'd see it lining up.
Yeah, Ahmad 9, Mainoo 10 and Bruno 8. Yeah, that's definitely possible.
I think
people are touting the idea that Mainoo could maybe be a bit of a false 9 as well, but I feel like that would probably 3 different positions within a week for Mainoo probably. But I think Ahmad, because I do believe he might have played in that area maybe a couple of times for Sunderland.
Centrally a few times, yeah.
Yeah, so I reckon it's Mainoo. I think it's Ahmad up front, and especially I feel like he might actually be our best presser in the team. So
yeah.
I think him being a bit of the tempo setter for the press up top as well might be beneficial for us.
And then looking at the back three, Finn, Martinez, Maguire comes back in, and Euro. Any surprises there?
No, not at all. And I think that's, for me, our strongest back three. I think
no De Ligt?
No, not for me. Not for me. Nothing wrong with him, but I think you get
stand on that opinion, Finn.
I think Finn's never been like as high as everyone else is on De Ligt. I'm nearer to Finn as well. I think De Ligt's solid, but I don't think he's some sort of like
amazing
cemented centre half there. I feel like he's someone you can improve on.
Is that not an indictment though that Maguire, who seemed like his United career was over, and I think Maguire's probably been one of our better defenders this season, but for De Ligt to come in and still fans feel that De Ligt's not up to it compared to him?
I don't think so, because I think people just underestimate Maguire, to be honest, based on the poor seasons that he's had at United, where the environment hasn't been right and maybe his performances on a personal level haven't been right. But I think we forget that at Leicester he was one of the most in-demand defenders in the world. City were going to sign him, and I think if you saw him under Pep Guardiola for a few years, I think he'd be one of the best centre-backs on the planet. I think the big difference between him and De Ligt for me is the ball-playing ability. I think Maguire's got so much more progression to his game. De Ligt looks a little bit conservative on the ball for me. He doesn't always look comfortable trying to thread a ball between the lines or carry the ball at any significant different distance. And I think we've seen those shaky moments. Who was it against that mistake where kind of there's a miscommunication with him and Onana? He didn't look like he wanted to receive it, and Onana got the pass slightly wrong. It's just moments like that don't fill me with lots of confidence. Whereas I think, obviously, we know Maguire's got a mistake in him as well. And that's the problem. I think none of these players are perfect, but for me that is the best combination of the three. Martinez has been brilliant recently. He kind of looks back to his past self, especially on the ball, and I'm a huge fan of Lenny Yoro, so I'm very happy with that back three.
Yeah, Martinez is sort of passing from the back as what we signed him for. Come through the last few games. Lenny Yoro, he had a bit of a stinker a couple of weeks ago against Southampton. Do you think he's got a point to prove? Is that still a big learning curve for him?
I think, as I've said times, Lenny Yoro is a player that we've bought with huge and massive potential. Obviously coming to a little bit of a dysfunctional environment, especially defensively, but I've always said it's not like being a forward or even being a winger or a midfielder. Being a centre-halves usually have the oldest peak age in football for me, and he's got a good 10 years or so probably until he reaches his peak.
Yeah.
So if he has a little bit of growing pains, he's putting into areas where he's not comfortable, and he's going to have to adapt and learn. I think that can only be good for him. And I've seen enough from Lenny Yoro to be positive about him. And it's also about working out where he fits in that back three, because obviously he's got those long legs and he's able to defend in channels, even though he's found it a little bit difficult against like shifty Premier League level wingers. Yeah. Some people have alluded to that. I didn't watch him as much in Lille, but people that did watch him in Lille said that they feel like he would actually be more suited to the central centre-half position than the wide one, because one thing that he did show he was best at defensively wasn't necessarily his 1v1 and his tackling, but his ability to read the game.
Yeah.
But what do you think about it?
Well, yeah, I think right now this is probably where he can, learn how to play in this system and kind of come up to speed in the Premier League. And also he's 19 years of age. There's not many 19-year-olds starting for a club like United in Europe. But long term, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see him kind of become more of a central centre back. I think Amorim likes his central centre back to be more of a sweeper, and then the two wide players to aggress into the midfield a little bit more. And I think that suits Yoro's game quite a lot.
I've noticed that more from Maguire, haven't you? When Maguire plays central centre half compared to De Ligt, I feel like I see more instances of balls being played over the top or aerially where Maguire looks a good 5-10 yards behind the defence and almost swoops up, either in the air or something. And I think that maybe he's more natural at that compared to.
Yeah, I think that plays to his strengths, and I think it's also something we'll see from Yoro down the line. It would obviously mean that we'd have to go in for another right-sided centre back at some point, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I think. Yeah, I people made a lot out of that performance against Southampton with Sulemana.
Yeah,
and he was taking the mick out of, to be quite frank. But every young centre back is going to have a performance or two like that. Saliba went out on loan twice at Arsenal before he was considered ready to have an impact in the first team, and now you'd probably say top 2 or 3 centre backs in the Premier League. So it's going to take time.
In the world, some people say.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
That's a problem with coming with such expectation and money and playing for Manchester United at a young age. Everyone's like, well, you should be the finished product straight away. Like even you go back to like the likes of Maldini, they have mistakes in their game. It's bound to happen. But you're talking about like defenders there. What about Heaven that's signed this week? Is he going to maybe make some of the others look for a new club?
Is he going to be a shining light?
Yeah, from what I've from what I've been told, he's coming in as a first team option. There was some question marks whether he'd be, to start with an academy player playing. He might still play a few games for the under-21s, but yeah, I'm hearing that he's going to be in and around the squad, an option off the bench. Obviously, we don't have great cover for Martinez if he were to get injured. Luke Shaw's never really available. Obviously, he's coming back soon, but
of course he is. International breaks, Drew.
Right. But I think it's important to have more depth, and he's a player that has a lot of potential long term, maybe not as highly regarded as Lenny Yoro and not as ready as Lenny Yoro to have an impact, but I think it's an important profile to have in that squad, and he fits the bill of an Amorim centre back where he's comfortable stepping into those midfield zones and being really comfortable on the ball and kind of being able to spread play. He's got a great passing repertoire, and I'm really excited to see if and when he does get his debut, how he looks in this system.
Right, make sure you get smashing that like button. Matthew Harvey with a super chat said, Manu is strong enough to be a false 9. I am 99% correct. I need a laughing emoji. What do you make to that?
I can see him. You can see him pinning a defender, but I feel like you lose too much of Manu's potential influence with him being up front now, I think.
Yeah, I think
and that just might be and that might just be me being a little bit biased towards Manu, but you could say the same about Ahmad, but I think Ahmad's energy and his legs, because a lot of things that gets probably undersold about Ahmad is the intensity of his play, and I don't think he ever tires. I think when I watch, it blows my mind. People may not realise it, but it'll be the 89th minute and it'll be like the third 90 minutes that he's played in a week, and he's still going at the same pace.
He's bionic, isn't he, man?
He low-key is almost Bruno Fernandes level of like
that energy
of like constant intensity. And then I've seen running stats a bit like Ahmad quite often runs like 11-12 Ks in games. He's a machine.
That's what I had to do to get here today. Right, we've done a poll asking the chat who you think centre forward was going to be. BBC have it as Bruno, then The Athletic have it as Ahmad. Who do you think? Do you think this should be an example for like Chido Obi to maybe sneak in?
Definitely, I think
the opportunity should be there.
Absolutely, I think it's very clear that the pathway's there if he wants to capitalise. His performances in recent weeks have been fantastic, some of the best in a United shirt so far. I think it took him a little while to get up to speed, but against Oldham, playing against first team players, obviously not at the highest level, but still there's the physical aspect of things. He looked amazing. He took the mick out of them, and his game's looking more and more complete in terms of how he holds up the ball, how he circulates possession and drops deep to pick it up, but also his intelligent movement off the ball, finding space and finding opportunities to just wreak havoc against whoever he plays against, and I'm really excited about him. And I've continued to say that I think he should be given a debut before the end of the season. There's no reason not to for me with how our strikers are performing or not performing. I would definitely think that that's a good example that the pathway's there for him if he wants it.
And especially with it's going to come sooner or later. We've secured safety from relegation. The games are going to mean nothing. You'd expect him to get on the pitch. Jay Hart says Maguire slows the pace of our outplay so much when he's on the ball. Makes me nervous that he's going to get pressed out of the game. Right, okay, less than just half an hour before kick-off. Crystal Palace, they're on a decent run, and they're also a bogus team who have beaten 1 in 6, and they've won 4.
Really?
Yeah,
1 in 6.
Yeah.
1 in 6.
Oh. It's not good, is it? Is that equate to a bogey team?
Yeah, I think
so.
I think so.
That's interesting. So our bogey team are both the rivals of Palace and Brighton. That's their derby, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Palace and Brighton, and who seem to get smashed by everyone that isn't Manchester United, which is really aggravating. But
I think it's more annoying when you see them, like Brighton, lose 7-0 to Forest a couple of weeks after we lost to them. It's just
it's insane. The Premier League now is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
But Palace, I was actually kind of concerned about today. I'm not as optimistic because I think Palace have done decently well recently, but they also have really good players. The fact that they match up the formation, it depends whether both teams cancel each other out. I was almost swerving towards a 0-0 for me. I'm hoping not, but I've seen a lot of boring games recently when it comes to Manchester United, where it's just been a period of 10-15 minutes where we sparked into life. But today, I looked at the starting lineup. They've got Eze and they've got Nketiah on the bench, so they look a little bit weaker from that sense. But it's just about whether United win their 1v1 battles, because they're literally mirroring the formation that we play. So if I was Amorim, I'd be telling the players, you just got to be better than who you're playing against. And if most of our players are better than they are, then we should win.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be difficult for this to become a blockbuster of a game. I think it's 12th versus 13th, and both teams are on -4. Doesn't scream goal fest, does it, Finn?
No, I don't think so. I always come into these games with a bit of probably toxic positivity, and so I'm never going to predict a loss. I think there's a lot of positivity around some of the recruitment at the club, and we seem to be getting our business done in the transfer window. There's still talk of Matisse Tell possibly coming in on loan, which is another deal that I'd love to see happen. And so I'm gonna, I think it might just be one of those days where we turn up. I do completely hear your points about why that might not be the case, but yeah. I just think it might be one of those days where there's a bit of positivity and people carry that into the performance. Yeah. That's what I hope to see. And
especially this sort of hysteria about not being able to perform in front of our home fans, Ronaldo. Yeah. Like a win would be huge considering the sort of run. I'm not going to say we've turned the corner, but we seem to be, we're at the lights.
I don't know what it is with our home form, because I went to the United Southampton game and the fan base and the support is always strong. And I don't think it felt necessarily toxic in there. It feels like the fans are behind the team and are almost being on the optimistic side of things. It's just about the players kind of taking the energy from the crowd and using it effectively, rather than being a little bit nervous and being a bit unsure, which Amorim spoke about. But I don't know whether that's just obviously transitioning from one system to a completely different one. And then I think what makes things worse, especially from a psychological perspective with players, is then when it's not working and they're getting bad results, and you get that element of doubt into what you're doing. And I think that's one of the worst things that can happen, especially when it was only a few games ago that Amorim came out and said in the final 20 minutes of the game he was fuming about it because players started taking up positions they wanted to take up and not playing within like the confines of his system.
Habits again.
Yeah, just kind of thinking. I think it wasn't going well, and Amorim almost felt like the players started then freestyling, being like almost like, shod this, it's not working. And
I think that's what we've seen for years now with this group of players. It's like when things start to go wrong, the plan just goes out the window, and that's why we see such big losses, because almost always we concede the first and then it becomes 4 or 5-0.
Is it the plan goes out the window, or sort of the lack of I can't be arsed, it's that it's broke again sort of thing? Because there is when United have gone down in the past, it just seems like this element of defeatism comes in. It's like, we've been here before, let's just write it off. We'll go again next week. What do you make to the sort of psychology of it, of the home form?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if there's complacency or anything like that, but Old Trafford is meant to be a fortress. We're not meant to lose at Old Trafford, and it's been an all too common occurrence recently. So I think that's one of the things that Amorim is probably really eager to address, because I think being strong at home is a great foundation to work on in terms of mounting, a good season in the league, especially that bit of consistency. I think there's been a huge psychological problem in the squad for a while now. You hear a lot about the way Sir Dave Brailsford with Ineos is very intent on shifting that culture and bringing in more of kind of a winning attitude. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think they've brought in psychologists to work with the squad. And so hopefully that's something that we see change. But a lot of these players need to take more responsibility for their own performances, I think, a lot of the time, and not kind of abandon what they've been instructed to do as soon as something goes a little bit wayward.
Yeah, psychologists and 90-year-old running experts as well. It's all about marginal gains, isn't it? I've got to give a shout to Glenn F, who said, give us a shout out for my family, because they're sat next to him watching it. Hello, Glenn, you've been a member for 46 months, but we miss your chat again. Sorry about that, bro. There you go, word for word, Glenn F. Cheer up, you miserable sod. Right, okay.
Shout out to the fam, Glenn.
Right, okay, big news yesterday, obviously, with Marcus Rashford heading down the M6 to not one of my favourite cities in Birmingham. I'm not going to slag it off on air, but no.
Let's be honest, I'd even say it to McCullough's face, it ain't a great city.
He's not moving to Birmingham, is he?
Whereabouts are you from again, Finn?
Kent, unfortunately.
Kent,
that's sunnier down there, isn't it?
Kent's all right. But I think Birmingham's a little bit of a downgrade, to say the least, on Manchester. But all jokes aside, it's definitely an interesting move. It's one where if you're a United fan, you actually would want Rashford to do well. I know Rashford's still got a lot of avid supporters that have developed an affinity towards him as being obviously an academy graduate that's been here for a decade of his life basically at the club. So there's always that little bit of a connection there. But it's going to feel strange seeing him play for another Premier League club. But it was always something that had to happen. It looked like there was no way back for him, especially under Amorim. And it's about maintaining his value. So I think it would be best for United and for the fan base in general, to be behind Rashford, to hope that he goes there, smashes it, so that his value is at a decent level for when the summer comes around and we can actually command a decent fee for him. I think the worst thing that could happen for United actually is for him to go to Villa and shit the bed. Yeah, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think we're in a very similar boat on the Rashford situation, in the fact that it's never nice seeing an academy graduate, fall out of favour at the club and have to be moved on. And you look back to where he was 5 years ago, and you'd think, how has this happened? How has this been allowed to happen, where he's not banging in goals every week and being one of the most important members of this squad? But at the same time, you've got to address reality and look at the situation and say, well, we can't just, mope about the fact that it's not worked out. Let's give him the move that he needs for his career to try and get back on track, and at the same time create another slot in the squad to bring in maybe a new exciting maybe younger player. And I think it's best for all parties, this move. Obviously, to be honest, I wasn't expecting it to be a Premier League move. That will feel a little bit weird seeing him at Villa. But yeah, I hope he smashes it for himself and for United, because it benefits all parties.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, considering he was looking at Barcelona and Milan, to move to Birmingham might be a little bit of a... I think himself probably would have wanted a better move, and I reckon in the summer he might be looking at a bigger club. But him moving on, and your experience with the academy, obviously he's revered. I think Mainu himself has said he looked up to Rashford as someone to try and follow in his footsteps, and now I'm thinking, well, don't follow him too far, son. Do you know?
Yeah, I think naturally a lot of the academy graduates look up to someone like Rashford, who's come in and won trophies and been one of the most adored players in the squad for I guess his earlier years. And it's always sad, because you want these academy graduates to stay on and be long-term heroes of the club. And you think about one club men like Ryan Giggs and that kind of stuff, where that's the kind of fairy tale story, and that's how it kind of should end. And so yeah, it's never nice to see an academy graduate.
No, it felt like it was a fairy tale in the making, and you sort of when he scored 30 goals, you thought like Marcus Rashford might be at the forefront of being the phoenix of Manchester United, returning to where they are, and I think that's the sadness, is the romance that comes with a local lad who was supposed to bring us back, and how's it happened. Where do you rate his legacy then? Do you think the way he is leaving the club, is that causing an issue?
It's obviously ended sourly. And there's obviously been quite a lot of off-field issues over the past year and a half or so. And I feel like he could have obviously performed better for large periods. I think he could have kind of like almost like looked like he's committed himself more. But at the same time, he has offered United bags of goals and a lot of great moments. And he's done a lot more for the club than a lot of academy graduates get to. Obviously, United with the class of '92 was quite a special group in that sense, and I think it's since then that United have had this culture trying to cultivate like young talents and make them mainstays in first team football. But I think that's obviously become a lot harder these days with the fact that Premier League money is so vast that you can be a talented youngster, you can probably be worthy of a first team opportunity, but your club can always go and spend £30 million on a player that plays in your position. And I think that's always something you got to think about, especially at big clubs. You almost got to be like a superstar young talent, and you got to get a break, and you got to get a bit of luck as well. And Rashford got that when Martial got that injury in the warm up, and he took his chance. But I think there's a lot of things that could have gone better, but we can't pretend like he's not ever done anything great for the club. His stats are still decent. He's offered a lot of good moments, but I feel like it has come to a little bit of a sour end. But legacy wise, I think he might be looked on a little bit more fondly in like a decade or so when you look back on his actual tenure and his statistics, because by all accounts there could have been a couple of moments over the last few years where he could have left actually and decided to stay. But I don't know, because sometimes I think a lot of the criticism that Rashford gets for his play can be justified, but I think there's certain things he does get criticised for which I think are a little bit witch hunty for me. But
he carried the brunt of a lot of the responsibility, didn't he, for the team at the time, and it wasn't the greatest of Manchester United teams for a player of his talent to emerge from. You know, if you think he was like 5-10 years earlier, maybe we'd talk a different story of it.
Yeah, it's probably a result partly of the environment and kind of him being brought into the side at a time where the club is just mismanaged from head to toe. That can't have done him any favours. You know, if he maybe broke through at a time where we're winning titles, we've got an established strong squad and, you know, good management above the manager, then maybe it would have ended differently. But I think, like you said, Ronnie, once the dust has settled, hopefully we can look back on his time more fondly and look at the positives and look at what he did achieve, because he's been an amazing servant to the club. And yeah, I just wish him all the best. I hope it goes well. I've been critical about his performances for a little while now, because it's, you know, you can't ignore the truth. It's not been good enough. But I think it is important to leave it to just looking at what he's doing on the pitch and not going into what's happening outside of the pitch too much. I think that's for him, those around him, and, you know, the manager to deal with and to help with. I don't think it serves any purpose for the media to be speculating about why that's, you know, why he's not performing and making assumptions about what he's doing outside of that, because it's not fair on him.
Yeah, I think it's just a bit of a dark cloud now, especially because the issue is with Rashford and obviously the way he's training or presenting himself. The only issue is Rashford has been almost celebrity-like in that superstardom type of level of footballer, and he'll have academy players around the first team, players in the 21s that look up to him. Yeah, and sometimes it's about being a role model as well, and I don't think he's necessarily been that in that sense as well. Plus, I've for one have been really, really critical of Rashford for his performances and sometimes his work rate and his more seemingly disinterest, and then when you kind of like compound that with the off the field issues, then it becomes a bit of a huge problem. But I'm more focused on what he actually is doing on the pitch, because I've always said people are more aggravated about the off the pitch things because of his performances on the pitch. If Rashford was banging goals in every week and he's a perennial 25 to 30 goal a season striker, nobody would give a shit about whether he was partying or drinking or any of this stuff. It's because if fans are looking at Rashford and feel like Rashford's shortchanging him, especially for what he's being paid, then when they see those things, that's going to aggravate them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I don't think I can... You can't be upset at fans feeling that way.
No. Welcome to the Academy, Matthew Harvey. We had a couple of super chats. Luke H. I do worry that Dorgu tell, I think it's Kenda, is it? It's not
Quenda.
Quenda, yeah. Despite loads of potential, are Brighton-esque signings and won't bring us anywhere near the level of the top 4 clubs. Well, considering what Brighton did to us a couple of weeks ago and where they are in the league, that might be something we need to attain. FBF1 Sports, a member for 2 months, said, spent £100 million on strikers in the last 2 summers, and by February 2025, neither of them are starting in a Premier League game. Finn, where on the scale of sort of reinforcements that Amorim needs to make to improve the team, how high up is the striker? Is that the top thing that we should be looking for?
To be honest, no. Because I just think a striker is something that can be the cherry on top of a squad, but I think it's far more important that we address the core issues, which is across the squad, the lack of athleticism and kind of the physical flooring we talk about a lot. So I think I'd still be looking at bringing in a midfielder. My dream signing in the midfield would be Carlos Baleba at Brighton. Just someone who has the legs to keep up and get across the pitch. That real top level recovery pace and ability to cover ground. And then I still think we're going to need...
100 million they're going to charge for that.
I don't know if they'll charge that much. I think it will be closer to like 75, 80.
This is the same club that rejected £75 million from Matoma.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, okay, maybe.
They're good businessmen down there, aren't they?
I don't know if that's good business though, because sometimes you got to think they're ambitious, and sometimes Brighton are ambitious and cool. You got to sometimes believe, are they trying to be too cool for their own good at times with their assets?
I feel like they're almost...
Yeah.
Like... The Saudi club bidding that much for him is almost a bit stupid, and then them rejecting it is also equally as stupid. It just seems like a weird deal.
It was but then again, people are forgetting Brighton did reject it, but I don't think Matoma wouldn't have gone anyway.
Oh right.
So Matoma wouldn't have agreed to go, so it would just been a mute point anyway. To be fair.
It's a nice position to be in to turn that down.
Yeah, I think Matoma was the type of guy. Like what has he got, like some dissertations on how to be a winger and stuff? But it doesn't come across as the type of guy that sees Saudi in his future.
Right, okay, yeah. Shane Gates said he left his boyhood club because a football coach asked him to train harder and work hard. It's really sad. Jay's Parrott, see Højlund and Xerxes coming on as a pair, both fresh. That's not been something we've seen them two as a pair. I mean, you don't see that much on the football pitch nowadays anyway, 2 strikers.
No, but I mean, it depends if you view Xerxes as a striker, to be honest. But on paper, I think their profiles complement each other really well. Xerxes is a player that can kind of hold it up and create, and then Højlund is someone who can get on the end of these chances. I don't think it's an experiment that we've really trialled enough, to be honest, and I'd like to see that happen. I think they could have an impact together off the bench, so that's a good point, to be honest.
Do you know what's another thing I need to find out quickly on a rapid one though, Ethan? Is this what's his game on?
A perfectly legal stream.
So are we not? Because have you not realised that United weekend games on Sundays are quite consistently not on TV anymore?
But we're a mid-table club at the moment. That's where we are.
It's a sad state of affairs. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I'll be at home and be like, oh, I the TV, and then the United, it'll be like Fulham versus Ipswich on it.
Yeah.
As
it's when you watch Match of the Day in the pecking order, and then you're just before the news. Right, Jay's Parrott. Rashi's seen the standards at Aston Villa might be good. Right, we've got 15 minutes before kick-off, Man United versus Palace. How Palace going to approach the game, do you reckon, Finn? Are you fearful?
Yeah, they've been decent coming into this. I think they have 4 out of 5 wins, and I think they're gonna, they're a well-drilled side under Glasner, and I think they're gonna approach it with the same kind of confidence that they usually do. They've got good players. Mateta's 4-4 in the league, and I don't think they'll make it easy for us. They're going to be, physical and athletic, and they're going to, I think, take that physical side of the game to us. And so it's going to be, like Ronnie said, it's going to depend on whether we can match them in the 1v1 duels. And I am optimistic because I think I've just got a feeling that it's going to be one of those days that things go well for us. and we put out a decent performance, but they're not going to make it easy.
Do you think Henderson's going to have the game of his life in net?
I don't know.
I feel like the sort of wave of optimism that we're on at the moment. I just feel like we need a decent performance at Old Trafford. Laurie Whitwell's another opinion on what the starting 11 is going to look like on the pitch. Judging by the warm up, appears Mainu maybe up front. It's Mainu between Ahmad, Garnacho with Fernandes and Ugarte deeper versus the starting back five where Mazraoui is right wing back and Delo left. What do you make to that?
Yeah, if that's the case, then I think it's probably quite strong, to be honest. I like the idea of Mainu being further up the pitch. I think is where we see the best of his abilities. Not sure about up front. I think, like Ronnie said earlier, that might take away a little bit from his game because he likes to be really involved in possession, and sometimes United striker gets a bit lost and a bit, we don't see Rasmus have many touches of the ball throughout a game. So that's interesting, and definitely it could turn out really well. Like I said earlier, he played at striker for a lot of his academy years, and it's not a position he's completely alien to him. But obviously, we've never seen that in the first team. And to be honest, I'm glad to see Fernandes and Ugarte deeper. I like the idea of Bruno developing into a player long term that is a bit more mature and maybe more of a kind of deep lying player. I was a big fan. I remember a few years ago when I think it was like our whole we were decimated with injuries, and he was playing more like a quarterback role. It doesn't seem as wasteful from them positions as it does up front. So it'd be interesting. I mean, with them three as well, if it is up front, they can change as well, which should be a nightmare for defenders. Yeah, exactly. I think the interchangeability is really valuable in terms of being unpredictable and making teams struggle to pick up your runs and work out who should be marking who. I think that's really valuable to have that kind of positional and tactical fluidity. But that requires intelligent players. I'm not sure you could say that this squad are particularly intelligent or have the best decision making at times. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see. When you say they're not the most intelligent or make the best decisions, is that something that they can be trained into them, and is this a repercussion of what's been trained into them in the past? To an extent, I think so. Yeah, I think sadly you see some players that pick up habits and they really struggle to get free of them. I don't think the players have been taught very well the right things to do and the right habits to pick up over the years, and I think as a result we are left with a squad where you watch some of the decisions they make and you just think, what are you thinking? Obviously it's easier said than done, but hopefully under the tutelage of Amorim, he's going to instill some philosophies and principles in these players that kind of make that consistent decision making and more apparent. Yeah, one of the players that looked like they were out the window and certainly had a resurgence, I think it thought he changed the game midweek, is Garnacho. And now last season, at the beginning of this season, one of the criticism was his inability to look up and find the pass. He's certainly done that, hasn't he? So he's taken it on board. And do you think we could be expecting him to go tomorrow? He's played a lot of games now. It doesn't seem like Amorim wants him to with the Rashford move. I think with Rashford out of the door now, I would thoroughly expect him to stay unless Chelsea or Napoli put in a really significant bid. I think we'll be actually hoping to keep hold of him. And it's interesting because that didn't look like the case maybe a week or two ago. No. It looked like he would be the most likely to leave, and it looked like he was out of favour with Amorim. But the one thing that stood out to me watching him as an academy player was that he's a player that's always willing to pick up new things into his game and adapt his game and listen to coaching. He's a very coachable player and he's very adaptable. He wasn't always actually the most talented player in that group. He came in the FA Youth Cup winning side with Kobbie Mainoo and a few of those other players, and he became the standout in that group because he improved every week and he was always adding new things to his game. And I think we're going to continue to see that as a first team player, where he hopefully will be able to iron out some of those inconsistencies in his game. And it looks like now suddenly he's got a career under Amorim. Yeah, I think Amorim said as well post it was the City game or the European game where they had a little bit of a kick-off that he's taken everything on board, and that's what you want to hear. That's really exactly what you want to hear. I think we've noticed a bit of a shift maybe in his body language, and I think there was a bit of a worry about his arrogance as a young player, but I think we're seeing a shift in him definitely.
In terms of the wing backs today, Delo and Mazraoui, what do you reckon with the sort of Dorgu coming in and what that means for them two players?
Yeah, they're going to have to pack their bags, to be honest. No, I really like Mazraoui. I've not been so sure on Dalot this season. I just think they are traditional back four fullbacks.
Yep.
They're not players that have got lots of experience playing as wing backs, and I think it's clear we look a little bit kind of tepid with those, being the players that we expect to push up the pitch and get in really high, wide areas on the ball, because it's not really what they're great at. Especially Dalot, he's not the best crosser, and you don't often see him put a great ball into the box from wide. And so I think Dorgu is going to completely shift that and change that up, because he's someone that definitely can have a big impact in the final third. Another thing with Dorgu is he's so versatile. He can play basically anywhere on the pitch, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him play on the right, play on the left, even in the back three he's played at times for Lecce, and in the number 10 positions.
Wow, that's going to be a nightmare for Ethan and the boys when he's on the pitch.
Yeah, exactly. A little guesswork there.
Yeah, Mazraoui is an intelligent footballer though, despite not being an out-and-out wing-back.
Yeah, definitely. He's very adaptable as well, and we even saw him play it in the 10 position under Ten Hag, which I wasn't a fan of, but yeah, I think out of the two of them, Mazraoui is the one that is a little bit more in favour out of Mazraoui and Dalot.
Yeah.
But he still kind of lacks that explosivity and burst that you expect from Amorim's wing-backs. And obviously Dorgu brings that in abundance. So, it'll be interesting to see. But I think Mazraoui will kind of remain that right wing-back while Dorgu comes in on the left.
One of my favourite players that we've signed of late that wasn't playing on Thursday, Ugarte. But I mean, he just feels like he's like the cog of what everything else is built around now.
Yeah. I don't think he gets enough credit still. He's been a little bit shaky, I think, in some of the recent performances, but overall his season's been fantastic, especially if you consider the environment that he's come into. He's one of those vital players that you need that will just keep it simple when he needs to. He knows when to do something a little bit more flashy and when to just keep it simple and play a 5-yard pass.
Yeah.
And that's something we've missed from... you think back to...
Carrick was probably the last time we had someone of that sort of calibre.
I'm not sure I'd put Ugarte on.
No,
Carrick,
but I mean in that sort of calm head in terms of not the passing ability or range of Carrick, but like in terms of that midfield, we've not had anyone that could play simple football. Really.
Yeah. Because I'd say Ugarte's he's got the energy and the legs of a Fred.
Yeah.
But the problem with Fred is the amount of times you'd see him miss just like a 5-yard pass under no pressure.
Finn.
Stuff like that.
I'm the... Are you passing me this or what? She's making a right meal of that. I'm the president of the Fred Appreciation Society, so we'll have no slander here of Fred.
What I meant to say was we need someone like Fred back in the squad, because he's the best player that I've ever seen
just
play
that
for
smile.
Manchester United.
He wasn't the greatest, but he was happy while he was being bad at football.
Exactly, and that's all you can ask for.
Exactly. All right, we're about 5 minutes before kick-off. Get your predictions in. Finn, how do you see this going?
I think we're going to win. I think we're going to look better than we have recently. I think I'm taking the positivity that's coming outside, off the pitch, and I'm hoping that that's going to be implemented on the pitch. And I'm going for, I reckon, a 3-1 win today.
A 3-1 win, and there's Ronaldo trying to sneak in seamless edit in there. Thank you very much for the water. Ronaldo, you were saying 0-0 earlier on. Since you've been away for your toilet break, have you got a little bit more positive?
I've got a little bit more lighter.
Have you? Thanks for that detail.
I would say... Do you know what? Yeah, I think we'll win this. I just don't think it will be necessarily high scoring. I feel like that might be the kiss of death. It ends up being some sort of entertaining end-to-end 4-3. But
bloody hell, you have changed your tune since you went for a P.
I think it's P. I think that's the wrong P word. That. And then... But I'm going to be a little bit more positive now. I think we will get over the line. I just don't think it'll be necessarily easy, but I think we'll get the result.
Right, 3.6 thousand people are watching. We've got Matthew Sargent who said, this Finn is a great addition.
I appreciate that.
Dungan said, Man United win. Jack Tank, 5-0. I'd love to see that. A full name Hugger, 2-0 United, 2 late goals from Garnacho and Ahmad. 7-0. We're going to do this. When was the last sort of emphatic victory that we had?
Barnsley,
7-0, yeah.
That doesn't count because it was in the cup.
No. Against a good team.
Whenever we play Leeds.
Still doesn't count, does it?
No.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I can't remember that. Well, we beat Southampton about 8-0 a few years ago.
9.
9-0.
Don't know if that counts.
We haven't like spanked in the way that Forest decimated Brighton yesterday. That's the sort of performance I want to see.
I don't feel like we don't. It's been a good few years since we've like really
Under Ten
spanked
Hag,
teams.
we never scored more than like 3 goals.
No.
It was so rare that we'd see like a really comfortable, high scoring game.
Referring to Fergie days again, I feel like Fergie days when I was young, I feel like quite regularly every now and again we'd beat a team like 5-0.
Under Ollie, the Roma game, second leg, wasn't it like 6-1 or something?
7-0 was it? 6-1? No, you're right. 7-6.
I think that was earlier.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I think that was.
Was Carrick's?
The really old one,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think under Ollie we had a few high scoring games, and that one against Roma comes to mind as a game where we did really just dominate. Leipzig 5-0.
Yeah.
That was quite good against a good Julian Nagelsmann team as well. So yeah, but it would be nice to have one of those games where you just you secure the win early. It's high scoring. You got no stress, no kind of last minute scares. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, and it has a knock-on effect, doesn't it? Game on game. It's like all the hard work up to this point. If we drop points today, I think even a draw would feel a little bit sour after the sort of run we've been on. Mohamed Sheyan says Garnacho is going to score 5.
Realistic, yeah.
Yeah, I'm up for that. Ned the Red 2-0. Siljo James John said, "Why is Howson with Andy Cole?"
That's what Laurie.
I have no idea. Ronnie taking 6 minutes to open a bottle. Struggling there.
Jesus, man.
It's never that with his alcohol in it.
Can't get
Okay, make sure you're getting your scores in and smashing the like button. We've got 2 minutes until kick up. 3.5 months since I've drank.
How long are you going for?
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Okay,
Seriously.
Well done.
Well, thank you very much. Cheers.
What about you, Finn?
Since I last drunk,
Yeah.
24 hours.
Well done. You're looking fresh for it.
But before that, like 5 months. So
Was that like intentional?
yeah,
Or
I just
lack of invites.
I just tend not to be honest. Not my thing.
Yeah,
You need to get on that.
12 hours for me.
12 hours?
Yeah.
Where were you last night?
Right, it's not competition.
Out and about.
Yeah.
Nah, but before that, I think other than when I brought the sorrel for the lads to try and watch along, I hadn't drank since mid-December, so it was probably about a month and a half. But yeah, I think I could easily go on and just not drink at all. But I think it's just one of those necessities when you go out in a social environment.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I just want to go home.
Yeah. To tolerate certain people, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You have to do it drunk.
Tolerate.
Well, that's what it's been like watching Man United of late. Anyway, you need to have alcohol. Right, keep getting your predictions in. Scott Metal says Scott is gone straight edge. Trying, mate, trying.
Looks like Dorgu and Heaven have just been unveiled at Old Trafford.
Okay.
That's interesting.
When do you expect to see them?
I think Dorgu we can expect to come in right away and probably start at left wing back, right from the off.
If you're Dalot, how do you feel about that? And then after that, how do you feel if you're Luke Shaw?
I think you've got to look internally, to be honest. Look at your own performances, and if you're not up to the standard required, then it's on you, isn't it? Luke Shaw, again, he's a player that I love. I think on his day, and we say that too much about United players, but on his day, he's one of the best fullbacks in the world. But he's never fit. He's never available.
Yeah.
And even if he was, I'm not sure now in this new system that he's necessarily the right profile that we're looking for. Whereas I think Dorgu is nailed on exactly what we're looking for in terms of that player that's going to bomb forward with a lot of pace, explosivity, and have a real impact in the final third. So I think these players that are going to be out of favour, they just need to look internally.
Yeah, but can Dorgu high five like Dalot? That's the question.
That's a good point. Oh, I don't know.
That's the sort of morale you need in the Man United.
Oh, you're making me rethink it now.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Get that on your scoop. Right, okay. Played out. Who's Luke Shaw? Yeah, well, you'll see him in an England kit in a couple of weeks, I imagine.
100%. Is that when's the? It's not been international break for a while. I feel like there was one every few weeks.
There's one in a couple of weeks, isn't there?
Yeah.
International break.
Yeah, these days, yeah.
Waste of time.
Yeah,
It's so jarring.
Especially when there's no United players in the squad. It's just like, what's the point?
And I'd rarely ever watch international.
They've got Mainu up front.
Yeah, Mainu up front then.
It's really interesting. I don't hate it, actually.
That could be like the new Ronaldo, Rooney, Tevez.
Could it?
Why couldn't it? Tell me why it couldn't.
It's a young forward free anyway.
That's what you
1920s. I'm at 22.
Yeah.
But I'm of this. Like, if we've got like a really young front three, and then we've got the likes of Heaven, Dorgu, and Yoro, it is.
You can see a young core emerging.
You're growing as a team. It's better than I don't know, having a Cavani for paying him 200 grand a week.
I can see Collier being loaned in the summer though.
Really?
Yeah. I feel like United will strengthen and get a midfielder, and then it could happen that Collier, because Collier for me I think is shown himself to be a really good steady Eddie. Off his legs and physicality, but
he's only been at United for 2 years.
Let's not pretend like he's some sort of game changer though, as many would like to believe. But I do like Collier. I think he keeps it simple.
No, it looks like it's kicked off
sometimes.
There we go. Manchester United versus Palace. Come on, big home win today.
Come on.
Can we a bit of sound, please?
Yeah, a bit of audio.
Is that Mainu through the middle? It looks like it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Mainu up tops.
Wow.
Okay, now.
Straight after playing a new position.
Doesn't mind trying shit, does he?
No. I think it shows a lot of faith from Amorim that he's, he believes in Mainu's ability to adapt and kind of listen to new instructions.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it's important.
It's the third new position that he's been tried at.
Yeah. 3 games.
But that doesn't.
Wow! Shit.
He could have played that so much earlier as well. That was
unlike Ahmad, isn't it?
Dribbling in the wrong box.
He's just doing it for fun.
Yeah.
Thing is, it'll be interesting to see if Mainu's got the positional discipline to stay, up in those striker positions, because he will drift left a lot.
I think Dalot's really underrated at that when he gets it right.
What?
He's one of our only. He's one of our only in the build-up phase. One of our only players capable of taking someone out of the game by
He is a
himself.
really good ball player. Ball carrier.
Ball player. The reason is he's got. The thing is with Dalot, I think it's all up there, man.
Yeah.
I think he's just consistent, being consistent with his actions and doing things well all the time. I feel like he has way too many lapses, and people think lapses is just defensive. I feel like sometimes it's on the ball as well.
How old is he now? 26?
26, I believe.
So he's still got years ahead of him, hasn't he? And he's one of the few players in the squad who you could probably actually get a big fee for.
You'll be surprised. I think you can easily command 40+ million for Dalot, at the very least.
Sometimes we underestimate the fees that we can get because we've been so bad at selling players in the last 5-10 years.
I think it's only Dan James that we've got any profit on.
Yeah.
What did you think about the Madrid interest
in Dalot?
Yeah.
I think it was just them trying to get Liverpool or Trent to agree a deal.
Yeah.
I don't think it was.
Can you imagine that Madrid went we can't get Trent, where are we going to go next?
Dalot.
He's probably more rated than we think.
Yeah, he's a Portugal international, isn't he? And he always plays well for them.
Decent little bit of play though. Couple of sharp. I'm seeing the benefit of having someone that can hold the ball up though.
Yeah.
A couple of times now we bounced the ball off. Maybe.
Can you imagine this just becomes his long-term position now?
Could also be Amorim showing the board that he needs players.
Proving a point a little bit.
Do you think managers would go to that extreme though?
To be honest, I don't know.
I think what it is with Amorim is that he's using his time during not even a full season, but his first season, to say, right, well, who can play where, and sort of experiment ahead of next year.
Yeah, it still feels a little bit interim, doesn't it?
Yeah,
with him coming in.
And like it's a free hit, really, isn't it? Like if it doesn't work with Mainu up front today, then he knows. But we're not going to get relegated. We're not going to win the league. We are going to win the Europa League. So I just think trial and error until the new season, as far as I'm concerned.
Definitely.
Just a chance to try things, isn't it? The fake that.
Maguire versus Mateta is like a WWE match.
Yeah, 2 big
heavyweights.
It was Royal Rumble last night, wasn't it, I believe? Yeah. Was it good?
I didn't watch.
Not my thing.
You were out where you was drinking, watching the wrestling.
Did you watch it, Scott?
No. I watched it since Hulk Hogan was a kid.
Speed was on it. That's all I know. I don't know. He's gotten himself everywhere. It's mad streaming world.
I'm liking how we've opened this. We look really comfortable on the ball.
Yeah, is it? Alright, the formations are technically a little bit similar, but is it really? Is there a little bit of differences?
Well, it looks like we're playing a back four in possession right now. It's 4-3-3 basically.
Bruno's gone deep.
Yeah. But he's staying deep as well.
Yeah. But that's another thing that was talked about in the game on Sunday, that there seems to be a lot of more...
Oh,
there seems to be a lot more rotation.
Yeah, yeah. Go on, Manu.
Go on.
Up. Oh, great move.
Fuck's sake. Oh.
There is a lot of interchange in the passing.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
slick.
yeah.
It's a completely different sort of Man United that started against Brighton.
It's been a sharp start. Manu there.
He's done great to cut it back there, isn't he?
Good defending though.
Yeah, it's great tackle.
Great cutback from Manu.
Oh, he has to make that, doesn't he?
Great defending.
Good move from United.
See what our set pieces are going to be like.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
No, it's just that we don't. Our side isn't that big, especially compared to them.
Yeah.
Who's that? Who did?
Oh,
could he have swung his left?
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't have like the hip mobility for that.
Well, he almost scored one of those, high finishes against FCSB.
Yes. What was it? Style Bucharest?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. It was just he sliced it slightly, but it was unlucky.
We're playing some football,
Oh, lovely.
Go on. Oh, fucking hell.
Great start by
some football,
That was...
Oh, no.
Oh, no, don't get too cocky.
Yeah. That was beautifully threaded through from Ahmad.
K&L? Manu 9,
Yeah, Kobe might be a 9.
So, midfield, number 10 and number 9.
Yeah. Can we just play him everywhere?
Good footballers can play anywhere.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm liking this.
Yeah. Just unlucky. Did that hit the post? That was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a deflection, I think, as well.
It's good positive play from him.
Bruno's continuing to drop into this little deep lying role.
Definitely sort of tactical going on there, isn't it?
It's really interesting.
Oh, it's a bad pass by Ahmad.
Just a bit lax, that.
Oh, that is horrible.
These are the type of starts that we're used to in the good days.
Yeah.
But it's just about sometimes
Holding on
if you get a goal, though, innit?
Yeah.
Because that's one of my biggest concerns is the game being on a bit of a knife edge in the last 25 minutes, because I do look at Palace's bench and their bench is pretty strong.
On the bench,
do you know what I mean? So
we just got to capitalise on the, early positivity. That's nice from Euro.
Oh,
we're playing football.
wow.
Look at this. Okay. Commentator's curse.
yeah, it's coming.
Commentator just said it was fluid and then we lost the football. There is a massive difference in confidence though, isn't there, compared to like you look at the 10 minutes against Brighton or Fulham.
we look good when we got a footballer up front now, joke.
It must be a manager's dream having someone like Manu who can just do a job from anywhere.
Nah, definitely. Because it's similar with Dorgu, isn't it? Obviously, Dorgu's coming on being a left wing back.
Yeah.
He can probably play right wing back.
Right wing even.
Could even play one of the front three.
He's even played in Lecce's back three as a
left centre back. Yeah.
It's crazy. Because when you're a good athlete and a good footballer, there's no reason why you can't just do a job from anywhere.
But it's the forward arrow.
Were you well aware of him beforehand?
Fairly. In the last 4 or 5 months, I'd say, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of interest from the bigger Italian sides as well. So Juventus were following for him a long time, and also Napoli. And I watched him for the Danish youth sides, so the under 18s and under 19s. I remember one goal he scored where he just ran through the whole team. I can't remember who the opposition was, But he's got a goal in him.
Yeah, fair play to you, things. A lot of people on social media just say they've been watching him for years and haven't got a clue.
Some people have access.
Some people got so angry about it.
I know, yeah.
Some people have access to Oh shit!
Ooh, I saw that was in.
Some people have access to WeScout though, don't they?
Yeah, I wish I did.
WeScout's amazing. You'd
why is that?
Mate.
It's because it's like 500 quid a year. So
I think it's more than that.
Is it?
I think it can be really expensive. Depends on the package. It is. It's expensive.
Yeah.
But Thingy had access to it. Managed to get access to it for about 6 months or so. Steve.
Yeah.
So he let me use it, and it's incredible. It's literally just any footballer in the world. It literally has like clips of every game that we've played, and they're all 90 minutes. The whole touches and
right down the age groups as well.
Right down the age groups, and it's got into subsections. So it would be like defending, attacking actions. Like
breaks it all down.
Breaks all their clips down into games. So there's probably what
the clubs
use, but it's also got data in it. So like you'll go in like under 23s, and then you'll be like, but the most like successful dribble percentage and the amount of dribbles, and it will show you like all of,
it's amazing.
Then it'll show you like a player that's like in the Bulgarian first division that's like 19 ripping it up, and then that's when people then have a look.
Yeah.
But
I used a free trial to watch United's youngsters play in Hong Kong last year in the 16s. It's an amazing platform.
They need to get you on that thing.
About 10 minutes in, what we've made first 10 minutes, Ronnie?
A good investment. But I think we've been sharp. I would have liked us to capitalise on the goal, because you just don't know whether we might start faltering again. But I love the fluidity that I'm seeing up front.
Yeah, it's like if it doesn't lead to any end product, then we sort of might fall back. Finn, have you been impressed first 10 minutes?
Yeah, really impressed, to be honest. I think we look very positive going forward, but we just need to be careful because we're playing quite high up the pitch. We need to be careful that we don't get counted on. 76% of possession already. So
apparently that WeScout starts at $299 yearly, but increases based.
Yeah, but the $299 package, you get nothing. You get nothing. Like 30 seconds of footage each month or something.
I think for the full Monty, like with no kind of restrictions, it's quite
clubs paid thousands. I think.
Jeez.
I think clubs might even have their own type of database that's other than WeScout.
True, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But then they like to go and they send scouts to actually watch games live, don't they?
Yeah.
To get a feel for them. Shit.
Ooh,
that's great defending.
Really well cut out by Maguire.
Meaning.
Here we go.
He's up against LaCroix. Was that Richards?
Go on, Garnacho.
Hit it.
Lovely.
That's lovely. To Kobe. Oh, if someone was there at the back post.
So impressed with this opening 12.
Yeah. Good blind cross that from Ghana.
Yeah, he's good at that.
Yeah, I feel like he's got so many assists from doing that. Where like he's back then and he swivels.
To the winner against City for Rashford. Was it Nathan Ake that he spun?
Yeah. You know. Oh yeah, City Arsenal after this. I keep forgetting that. I actually don't know what to expect from that game.
I think City will turn up.
I think it's going to be even, but I think Arsenal win.
I think it's the type of game where Kevin De Bruyne will have a bit of a throwback performance.
Oh, he does turn up against City, against Arsenal.
Yeah.
Where is that, City or Emirates?
The Emirates.
Euro almost got his head on that.
Ooh, I think he should.
Lovely delivery from Ahmad.
Yeah.
It'll be nice to see Euro get his first goal.
Yeah.
He's showing that he might not be far off. He get all right in some areas.
At Lille, he scored a few goals.
Yeah.
A few nice ones. He's quite good in the air, but he also one of them he brought it down really nicely on his chest and then
volleyed it in. Might be coming for him. Martinez a couple of goals and assists this season as well.
Yeah. Almost identical ones.
Go on.
So.
Almost. I almost put.
If you'd not said anything in the back,
the ball spills to Martinez back post and He hits it cleanly on the volley, but it's quite nicely blocked.
Yeah. Palace have done well to block a lot of these efforts. But
Yeah, a lot of good last-ditch defending, isn't it?
Yeah. But we're really taking it to them, you know. We've had already 3 or 4 really good chances early on.
The first 15 minutes. Can't say that for too many games this season,
Yeah,
can
it's
you?
been a fast start.
Just need to get that first goal.
Yeah. Get a bit of security.
Has he got tape on? Why has a linesman got tape on his socks? You know, he's not been wearing shin pads or nothing, surely.
He's got to wear the edge grip socks on.
Yeah. Gone.
Oh.
Gone.
And again.
Dinkers.
Who's at the back
Martins.
post?
Oh, shit.
They've settled very deep, haven't they, Palace?
Go on.
See, he'll never put a cross in that position. I wish he would sometimes.
He's got like a back 8 now, isn't it? Oh.
I reckon Lissandro is definitely going to try it from that just outside of the box position again today.
Yeah, he's going to try like he's going to lace one.
He can really lash it, can't he? He's a good striker of the ball.
Yeah.
There's been a bit of a change as well with Martinez because he didn't have the greatest of starts to the season, and now doubt was creeping in my mind whether the sort of injuries were catching up with him. But like since the Liverpool game in particular this year, he's just been incredible.
Definitely, it's part of the reason why it would be interesting to see Euro in the centre. Oh, Palace countering now.
Oh,
this is a great run from
Whoa. That is unbelievable.
How's he got out of that?
No way. He could have shot there as well. If he scored that would have been disgraceful. Oh shit.
Oh no.
Just our luck, this. Just our luck. Oh,
it is, isn't it? I was just expecting Palace to score after that great start.
Well done, Kobe.
Great shielding. Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
Where's this come from?
Yeah, Palace having a go of their own now.
Let it go out.
That goes out for a throw in, it's jarring.
Fuck's
sake.
Palace
you just don't want to throw in right there 1 yard out from a goal kick. It's just
Palace had done nothing for 15 minutes, and then who was it that ran from their own box? Mateta, like on some incredible.
He's a powerful runner.
George Best-esque run there.
He went prime Yaya there, innit?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know.
God, I miss watching a player like Yaya Toure in the league. Just from a neutral point of view.
Yeah, don't make him like that anymore.
No. I mean, Balaba's got a little bit of that.
Yeah. Or you've got Ethan's favourite player, Misa Sissoko. Huh? That type of player that could randomly just burst through the middle of the park, and then you'd probably blast it over at the end of it, innit, Ethan?
How did Newcastle get on yesterday?
Lost to Fulham.
Did they?
Yeah.
I knew that.
Yeah, there's purple patches over.
Don't give it to Mateta.
Just
he's
dangerous.
Doing well.
Yeah.
Come on.
Good block.
Palace creeping
They've
back
crept
into
back
it
into
now.
the game now, innit? It's always going to
allow them to.
It's always going to happen.
Premier League opposition, man. They're just always in it.
You just got to make sure, like with them 3 or 4 chances that we created, one of them gets in the back of the net.
Yeah, he weathered the storm, didn't he? Head it out. Getting me nervous. Those are the type of things where I'm worried about, like a loose leg.
Yeah, that's the type of goal we concede, isn't it?
No, but like a loose leg, VAR pen.
Oh right,
that type of bullshit.
Yeah, Palace enjoying a little bit of the possession now.
They definitely crept back into it.
Yeah.
He's finally slowed down. It went a bit frenetic.
Still trying to work out what the shape is.
From also them.
For us.
Mm.
When we've got the ball, it's not a 3-back at all.
Gone. Ooh.
Oh, come on, ref.
Just always assume that he's going to pickpocket it.
Yeah, he's so good at that.
Yeah.
Ricky Spanish said, Finn, can I have a quick word on United's under-18s yesterday?
Yeah, first loss of the season. Always, I think it's important to we'll put a positive spin on it because
it's good to lose.
It's good to lose. I spoke to
go on, Finn. Good luck with that.
No, but I mean I spoke to Nick Cox, the academy director, and he said to me that he's terrified when the under-18s win every game in a season because it means they're not being challenged. City are a great side. I guess they're top of the league now. I think we still go top if we win our games in hand, but they've got a lot of really top players, some of which I think will go on to play for their first team. And United are missing, 4.
Oh shit!
Come on, United.
Oh my days.
Palace are getting closer, man.
Just got away with the fact that Kamada had an awful touch. Kamada gets a better touch there, we might be in trouble.
Yeah. United's under-18s are missing a lot of their best players, so I think it was bound to happen at some point. But no, learn from it.
There, though, is it?
He might have been off there, if they scored. I think he got a nick on that. Was it? Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Suddenly they're looking dangerous.
Yeah, Palace more than creeping into it. They're becoming a dominant team now.
That's what happens if we don't capitalise on some of those early chances.
That was my concern. It's like Crystal Palace would eventually grow into the game, and it's like, did we not make the most of breaking a deadlock then?
Yeah. Oh, this has been one of the criticisms of Amorim's teams and Man United in general over the last few years, is that we're all right when we're playing counter-attacking football, but when we're the home team or the team that's favourite, expected to break them down, like we really struggle with that.
Yeah.
Where's that from, do you reckon, Finn? What's the issue there?
I think to break down a low block, there's a bit of a misconception because people think you need really, really technical magicians, but actually a big part of it is having athletes in the final third. Someone, players that can be relentless and keep plying away at it and trying to break down that block and find different solutions. And I don't think we've necessarily had the players in our squad that can do that, that can kind of keep up that relentless pressure over a 90. Because I think we just get tired a lot of the time. So having players like Ahmad who can just keep going right until the death, Garnacho too, these high intensity players, I think the more we see them involved, the better we'll get. And also it's going to come down to the tactical approach from Amorim and how he sets us up. So yeah, it is a problem that we tend to actually do better when we're playing on the back foot.
Yeah,
that's been one of the biggest problems for the last 5-10 years. You can't be a title winning side if that's the case. You have to be on the front foot and dictating how the momentum of the game goes. So yeah, I'd like to see us become that team where you go out and you know how we're going to play. Because it's hard to say that you know how we're going to play these days.
We're usually dictated by how they're going to play.
Exactly.
We're not reactive than proactive.
The best teams over the years, you know exactly how they're going to come out
what
and play.
City's playing.
Yeah.
You want a team that's adaptable, a team that can play well traditionally, but another on the transition, but another team that, when needed, can dictate a game. That's the reason why City play like that monotonous football, and obviously sometimes even Arsenal play like risk-averse football. They just want less opportunities for the opposition to be attacking them.
I mean, they approach the game so mathematically.
Yeah.
In terms of minimising those small margins of error.
Ooh, what was in there? Menu. You attack, we attack, innit?
Like a boxing match. Just need to land the first one.
Go on, Tommy.
Go on.
Loose touch.
Oh. It's usually where he's decent. Innit?
Here he goes again.
Mateta, man, he's a problem.
Well done, Euro.
Oh,
It's brilliant.
Great
Good
tackle.
defending.
Bruno's really in his deep line playmaker bag right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I
it's a good press.
much prefer Bruno in that sort of Pirlo-esque
Yeah.
at the back, but I don't think Bruno particularly likes it. I think because he's not in the in the thick of the action.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I see Bruno as a player that performs right into his late 30s. I don't think there's any sign so far that he's anywhere near a decline.
No. Man's like a Volvo, isn't he? Just goals and goals and goals.
I think not saying he'll win as much, but I think he could be a bit of a Modric type player that just ages like a fine wine. And I think he's showing that he does have the maturity to drop deep and kind of retain the ball a little bit more and play with, a little bit more of, a pause in his game. Because we've known him to just be a bit non-stop and just always looking for the opportunity to play the killer ball.
Sometimes that's to his detriment as well. When he's always looking for that.
100%. It's just more because Bruno's plays with so much intensity, and he plays every 3 days, pretty much 90 minutes, never gets injured. It's about whether his durability more than anything.
He's a freak
takes
of nature with his availability. I wonder if it has negative implications for his longevity, or if he'll just continue.
He might just. Sometimes some people are just genetically built different.
Yeah.
Go
on, get on the end of that.
Could have let that go to the keeper, didn't he? For not a big team, we've actually looked pretty threatening from when we've had corners.
Ooh. It's a smart run from Maz.
Yeah, he was going for Maz, wasn't he?
Six corners already.
Got us feeling like Arsenal.
Arsenal have scored a few there, won't they?
Yeah. Be at least 3-0 up now. Go on, Baz.
Good defending.
Is that Garnacho?
Yeah. All trapped.
Fair play.
Wow, it's not like him to get back there, is it? A lot of people getting nervous in the chat saying it's too open, end-to-end football.
Yeah, there was a period where it was really like end-to-end, wasn't it?
It's a nice ball.
Great ball.
Beat him.
Get it in.
Shit, I don't like that matchup. I don't like this matchup. Yeah, so
that's why.
I don't really like it. Yeah.
Safe hands.
Tottenham are beating Brentford. Is that your own goal?
Yeah. You might survive. I think the reason why it's not been sacked is the cup run.
Sorry about that. We lost you for a bit there, and you're all throwing the Fs in the chat. Cheered up. Still 0-0. Nearly half an hour gone. United, Crystal Palace. Been a good game, really, and it's from a neutral point of view.
Yeah,
could do with a goal.
Entertaining.
It went very. Well, we started basically like a house on fire. We were electric for the first 15 minutes, and then Palace came back into the game. It probably went a little bit too open and end-to-end for our liking, but I think it's gotten a little bit steadier in the last 5 minutes.
I think the good thing is that a lot of their joy on the counter-attack has come through carrying the ball, but in terms of cutting off passing lanes, we've actually been quite compact through the middle and not allowed too much progression through passes.
They've hit us on the break, haven't they? Yeah, it's been a result of our attack not working.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit. Anyone there?
Nah.
Oh, he almost pounced on that, innit?
I love how hungry he is to just get onto those loose balls.
Had that.
You got it with
with
a lovely long ball.
hit and hope.
Effort.
Hit and hope.
Go on. I think you can see a bit of an understanding growing there between Yoro and his teammates. I think he's looking more comfortable and kind of getting up to speed. What a footballer.
Who knows? Just need... Yeah, go on. Oh, I thought that was going towards Mazden.
And again.
I thought that was on its way.
Nice.
Oh, lucky.
Just a bit stretched there, innit? Just on the stretch slightly.
A lot of United success coming through Garnacho and Bruno in down the left-hand side.
Just need the cutting edge. Can we stretch the other side?
We've still got a left side bias, don't we?
Yeah, we do. I think I've seen that the last few games. We still have a bit of a left side bias. We've had that for about... It was strong as well when it was like Luke Shaw and Rashford.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I do think teams kind of shadow over to Ahmad's side a little bit more as well. You know, we might swing it in from 40 yards out. We're feeding ourselves a little bit from the set pieces today. Go on. Ahmad.
Should have made.
I think that was intentional, but it just ran away from him. There,
Dean Henderson back at Old Trafford. He's a divisive character, isn't he?
Yeah. Had a lot of self-confidence in it. He was down injured for them. Oh, it was like it was hit to the face.
Yeah.
Looks like he got a clatter to the nose. Do you think this rotation and fluidity that we've seen, do you think that changes if one of the strikers eventually come on?
To be honest, I think Xerxes more capable of being a part of that and being part of those interchanges. I'm not sure Højlund necessarily is. I think he likes to kind of hold his position. And just seen Aidan Heaven and Patrick Dorgu, the two new signings, spectating from Old Trafford. So it's good to see. Manchester is my heaven.
Okay, that was it. Aidan Heaven, you know.
What has been the response from Arsenal fans?
They're not bothered.
They're not bothered. Are they saying he's no good?
Yeah.
Because they, unfortunately, as Finn will attest to, they have a bit of a nice crop of Highlanders, don't
generation, yeah. But Aidan Heaven, until there was news of him leaving, he was one of the players that they saw being a first team player. So yeah, I think there's a bit of saltiness.
Yeah. Who is it that they're saying is like basically generational?
Max Downman.
How old is he now?
He's just turned 15, I think.
Yeah. Is he actually that good?
Yeah, he's like ridiculous. I mean, he's
are you like never been so sure about him being like a first team player at Arsenal?
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's if it's at Arsenal, but there's talk that his future might be up in the air.
Is that every club in the world wants him, basically?
Yeah, any club that could sign him would sign him. United will try. I'd assume.
Yeah, that's become norm now, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
probably even like they'll probably like throw money at him as well. So you never know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I've spoken to people in the kind of academy football industry who just talk about him like he's Lamine Yamal level type of player. He's just got like kind of everything you'd ask for.
Fuck's sake! Hopefully he leaves Arsenal then.
Yeah. But there's still talk that he'll get his debut this season and break Nwaneri's Premier League record.
Where do you reckon he could end up if he left Arsenal? Because we've took a couple of their players already.
Yeah, I would actually assume we'd be in for him. He couldn't have a European move until he's 18.
Oh yeah, okay.
I don't think there's anything obvious to suggest he'll leave Arsenal, but
they'd throw the book at him, no Arsenal.
They will. They'll try
saying
everything,
in 5 years' time we'll make you the star of the club, and you know what I mean.
Apparently, Per Mertesacker is, because he's in charge of all of that with their academy now. Very reluctant to give out big money for these players, so you never know. He might not be willing to meet the demands.
Yeah, especially if he sees like Heaven and Chido doing well at United, that could be.
Yeah. If we make it clear that there's a pathway there, then it's a message to other young players that we're a club to come to. I think signing Lenny Yoro has done us huge favours in terms of the perception of where we're headed as a club.
Yeah.
Because he came in being touted as a generational talent that Real Madrid had been flirting with for a year, and so other players look at that and say, well, if Lenny Yoro sees a future there, then maybe I do too.
Fell a bit flat the last sort of 3 or 4 minutes, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's gone. Yeah, the game's gone a little bit.
Yeah, game's gone.
Last 5 minutes. Go on,
Ahmed.
Yeah.
Go on. Oh. Stay up. He's done well.
How's he done that there?
Unbelievable balance.
Tumbling like a drunk on the dance floor there for a minute, managed to stay up.
Just fell over. There's nothing in that.
Unbelievable balance.
Fly blowers Arsenal, our feeder club.
What a ball.
We
were saying before the game that the concern with mainly playing up front is that he might not be that involved in possession. I think we've seen a bit of that. He looks a little bit isolated.
Yeah, so John White has just said aiming for Mainu in the box is a tough proposition.
Yeah.
It's been alright when the ball's on the floor and the sort of
interplay
between them three, but aside from that, as a target man, he's certainly not that.
Yeah, game's definitely dried out a bit, innit? Need like a chance, an opportunity, a brilliant bit of player to kind of spark it, don't we?
Who was it that hit the post?
Cobby
won it.
I think it was going in, but it got a little deflection.
Apart from that, there's not really been anything in terms of chances.
No. Lenny Yoro came close to heading in, but...
Yeah, it's one of them where if Lenny Yoro gets contact on that,
it
might have been in business.
Hard to miss from there, isn't it?
Brian Sutton saying Maz is awful at wing back.
He's much better at the left as one of the centre halves.
Yeah, he's not a natural wing back. I don't know if...
Fuck's sake.
Oh, go on.
No way, no.
Oh.
Fuck. I think he was onside as well, you know.
United ruled their luck there.
Dangerous.
Ugarte got absolutely bullied by Was it Lerma then? In the middle there, he just... kind of just brushes him off. Yeah, he's onside.
He's
onside. Ball as well, Jesus.
Palace got to be kicking themselves and not scored that.
Did he save that? Anana? It's a save?
Yeah. Wow.
Anana gets a hand to that. Fuck. Otherwise, that'd be 1-0 Palace.
Do you reckon that was going in?
Yeah, probably, yeah. The touch takes it wide.
Great chance for Crystal Palace. 5 minutes until half time.
Oh yeah, so wait, they didn't get a corner for that, did they?
Just don't know where all that buzz off the first 20 minutes has gone. We need to get it back. Seems to have evaporated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of definitely
Oh,
just silly
soft.
foul.
Rishoff Murkaji, I think I got that right. Horrible performance yet again.
No, I don't know
It's
if
a
that's
bit
completely
harsh.
fair,
I
is
think
it?
that's harsh. I think what it is we want to see a lot more spark consistently in the final third, and I think that's what's kind of been a massive drawback.
Yeah, a bit of something out of nothing. Really needed.
Feels like it's a chore. Oh, it's
Why are you doing that?
Why?
That's the annoying part of Bruno Fernandes's game, isn't it? Absolutely no need.
Oh,
That's beautiful.
Played.
need more men in the box there.
Yeah, you can't exactly aim for Cobby, can you?
No.
You can aim for
Go on,
Ahmad,
Ahmad.
though.
Yeah.
Twist and
Oh,
turn.
shit.
And again.
Just needed that to kind of get through, didn't we? He's had a strong game in Euro.
Yeah, he's been
I think,
really
I
impressive.
think him and Maguire have been decent.
Yeah.
Maz with that as a winger, did that literally. I'm just gonna take all your space run there. Oh, could have maybe made his feet there. Bruno did that proper Ahmad run after that.
Cooper Foucault said
He keeps dropping back
Palace
into his
adapted to
form.
our setup. We've not adapted to anything. Players need to get their head up. Coach needs to coach them.
Go on.
Oh,
Dalot's free.
Go on.
Oh,
you just wanted
Look
it
up.
to be somebody else
Yeah.
to in that position.
Just I had to go to the other side, man, surely. So it's Bayern Day being used as an actual backup goalkeeper. Getting an odd appearance here or there in the cup competitions.
Might as well be a
I
young.
feel like Ten Hag played Onana every single game.
Yeah.
We could have been playing someone in the Johnston Paint Trophy. And it's start Onana and goal instead of Bayern Day.
He was stubborn like that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Just had weird ways about him.
Yeah.
I hate this thing of bringing two backup goalkeepers. When are you ever going to need a third keeper
I know,
in
yeah.
the squad?
It's pointless, really.
BMW Racing 1974. Euro is the only United player doing anything, and that's not a good sign.
No.
Do you agree with that sentiment, Ronnie?
I think Lenny Yoro's been really good this half. I think we had players that have great starts, but other than that, there's not really been any standouts. I think after 15 minutes, it just went a little bit stale again.
Fizzled out a little bit, hasn't
When,
it?
when they went on that charging run, like that seemed to be the turn of the game.
Yeah.
Turned the tide a little bit.
Hopefully we can compose
What-
ourselves a little bit for the second half.
Yeah, what we don't do though is concede with
Yeah.
a few minutes left in the half.
Yeah, I hope not.
Would you be looking to bring any substitutions on? Do you reckon? The big talk before the game was no striker.
He might do. He's not against making changes.
I think I'd see how it goes for another, 15, 20 minutes. Because we saw really, really bright plays early on, and if we can just bring back a bit of that spark, then I think it could work.
Jesus, talk about brick wall.
Yeah.
Oh.
You wouldn't want to clatter into him, would you?
Yeah, I think Maz is going to feel that one.
Yeah.
Oof. Mateta clatters into Mazraoui.
And he's went kind of elbow first, so ended up being a good decision by Henderson, isn't it? He could have done the fake thing, innit?
Try and get something before half time.
Bruno still wants to take a lot of the set pieces, and I feel like Ahmad's delivery has been consistently better the last few games.
Do you think there's a conversation there where Ahmad says, "Listen, I've been doing this better than you," or is it Bruno just?
Nah.
45 minutes, be a right sucker punch to get one now.
We're weighing up the sucker punch, aren't they? See,
Yeah, it's not great, is it?
Ooh, lovely football.
Hit it.
okay, no, man.
Who was that? Oh,
It's just been too many nailies.
Yeah.
some of the passing's been great. Like in between them, but
Some really intricate stuff. at
yeah,
times.
it's taking that, but then getting goals out of it. It's all a work in progress, but there's definitely positives.
Yeah. Had 10 attempts to Palace's 7 this half. So.
Just none on target.
None on target, though.
That tells us a different story. Trust the Fox video says top selection of jumpers today, lads.
Top set jumpers. Do you know what I mean? What, yours are pretty playing, though, innit?
Yeah,
mine's playing as well.
Quality.
Boo-hoo madness.
TK Maxx.
Yeah,
Some Italian knit.
Yeah, that's decent. What about yours?
Carhartt.
Anyway, half time. Go on, Scotty. I've interrupted you, man. Okay, hell.
Right, half time, Manchester United 0, Crystal Palace 0. United started pretty sprightly, impressively so I thought, but didn't really turn it into anything. Finn, quick analysis?
Yeah, I think obviously that early start gave us a bit of a glimmer of hope, but then it very quickly fizzled out, and for large parts there, Palace looked a little bit more likely to score. And I think I wouldn't make any substitutions early on in the second half. I would just wait to see if we can kind of recompose ourselves and get a few more of those patterns that we saw going, because there were some really nice little patterns of play, some intricate interplay in the final third. But then, after maybe 60, 65 minutes, if it's not going right, then I would look to get a goal scorer on. Yeah,
the big conversation before the game, Finn, was the who's playing up front, and obviously the front three of Ahmad, Garnacho and Mainu. The passing has been great, the shapes, the triangles and stuff, it's just not really translated into any clear opportunities. I think Mainu hit the post, but we've not really tested the keeper.
Yeah, I think there's got to be a balance between looking nice in the final third, because I think we look nice on the ball, and then actually, being effective and creating the actual chances and hopefully scoring goals. So, and it's been interesting to see Mainu playing in a new position. I think he's done all right with what he's had, but again, we always talk about United strikers just not having any service, and it's true of today. He's been quite isolated and not really being able to express his creative influence on the game that we're used to seeing from him. So it's an interesting experiment, but I'm not convinced.
Well, if you compare Mainu's performance as a striker compared to our other strikers, he's done no worse.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But
if you look at his ball play, has been decent. What have you made of the first half, Runner?
I think we had a bright first 10-15 minutes. We saw a lot of fluidity, a lot of rotation. I think we looked relatively dangerous. It looked like we caught Palace off guard, and I think they made a slight adjustment to kind of nullify us. But I think in the end, what we was lacking is the irony is in what made us look great in the first 50 minutes was Mainu and being a bit of a false nine and the rotations, and there not really being an obvious focal point, was actually what kind of harmed us when we got into the penalty area or in and around it, where it felt like we did lack that little bit of the presence of a natural striker, or people being a little bit more clinical in that area. But then you're looking at even like Højlund and Xerxes, they haven't necessarily offered that when they've played anyway. But in the same time, it did seem like we did lack that when it came to finishing off. I think even when we saw it the first 10-15 minutes, we said if we don't score, we was concerned that Palace will go back into the game, and then it becomes a little bit of a chore, because
if you do get that early goal, then I feel like Palace don't grow into the game the way they did.
No,
and you kind of keep them at bay a little bit.
Yeah, and Mateta went on a run, didn't he, about 15-20 minutes in, and that seemed to change the pattern of play.
It's gone a bit stale now, isn't it? Which is quite often what we've said too often about our forward play, especially when we get into the final third. I think Lenny Euro's been our best player for me. I think he's had one of his best games since he's been here. thought Maguire was really steady in the middle of the defence as well. But outside of that, there's not really been standouts. A few nearly moments from Garnacho on that side. He's getting a lot of service down there. It's just where the quality and the incision is going to come at the end of it.
Yeah, for all of Garnacho's criticisms, he is someone that will always create a lot of threat and get on the ball again and again and run at defenders. So,
do you think that's been a problem, that we're quite heavy on the left-hand side and that seems to be our route?
I think that, it seems to...
Once Palace have figured that out, like we seem to become less effective.
Yeah, because they can just overload that side defensively and provide solutions. And I think we need to show a bit more flexibility in not having that imbalance, because you've got someone like Ahmad on the right who, give him some space and time on the ball and he'll create something fantastic, and we don't use that channel enough, I don't think. It might be something to do with Mazraoui not being, as used to playing there high and wide on the right. He is more traditionally a bit of a deeper fullback, and so Ahmad doesn't necessarily have that partner there to play with through the right flank. But yeah, it would be nice to see us kind of make use of those long switches and kind of spread the play a little bit more, so we aren't so left-sided, definitely.
Yeah, and Bruno seems to have been a little bit wasteful. Let's see what gets your comments. Jack Mannion, full of the joys of February. Amorim's system is shite. End of the void, bring a striker on, end this false 9 BS. This made you think we're definitely going to get a striker tomorrow, whether we're on loan or...
I don't think so. At the end of the day, we still have 2 strikers at the club, and they've got, obviously, Chido. I don't know necessarily how ready he is, but if I'm looking at this game, my biggest concern was what I did say, is if we didn't capitalise early, is I look at Palace's bench in the second half, and their bench looks a little bit stronger than ours in terms of coming on and making a bit of an impact. We've got 2 strikers, you won't necessarily know what you're going to get from him. Outside of that, there's not much on there to change the game. Whereas Palace is still in the game with the ability in the second half, when it's more stretched, to bring on an Nketiah, bring on an Eze, bring on an Adam Wharton. Do you know what I mean? And that's where you look at, for us, if we do get a little bit too desperate and then you leave spaces for those types of players when they come on with fresh legs, that's my worry. If we end up losing the game trying to win it. But as for now, it just looks like it has a kind of expected it to be, which was 2 teams that have huffed and puffed but then cancelled each other out in the end. Yeah,
and like I said before kick-off, but both United and Palace are on -4 in the league, so it's not completely surprising that it's 0-0. What changes would you make within about 15 minutes? Is it one player that you take off in, or...?
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because I don't think you can say anyone's been awful, stand out. I think I would probably drop Mainu into one of his more natural positions, either in the pivot or at number 10. I don't have any problems with him playing at number 10. I think he looked great in the Europa League, and I think Amorim spoke so positively about that performance that why would you not kind of continue with that? So I'd probably bring Erasmus Højlund on, because he tends to look better coming off the bench, I still think, and we know that it's been a long time since we've seen it, but he does have a goal in him, especially if he gets the service. So I think around the 65-minute mark, I'd be getting Rasmus Højlund on. But I couldn't tell you who I'd take off, to be honest. Maybe Garnacho, but again, he's creating a lot of threat, so it's a really difficult one.
I thought Garnacho's been our brightest spark up front.
Ronaldo, but when you look at this performance, a lot of people aren't happy and saying it's depressive or like it's boring, the system's crap, blah, blah, blah. Compare this home game against Palace to Brighton and compare it to the first half against Southampton. Is there improvement? There's no goals, but in terms of what we put out.
I think over the last two games, I think we have looked less rigid in terms of our build-up and some of our forward play. But you're still seeing the same issues of just having that bit of superstar quality, that bit of spark in and around the area in the box, and I think that's where we're struggling, because we've had 10 shots in the first half, 67% possession, but at the end of the day, we've not had a single shot on target. Do you know what I mean? And that's, if we're not making the keeper work, then we aren't going to score goals. But I still think there's been, performance-wise, it's not been all doom and gloom. I wouldn't go far as to say that was a bad performance. I'd say we started really well for the first 15 minutes, and after that we were just steady. But I think it's just more in the final third where we're lacking that bit of quality.
Yeah, people, new one said Ericsson can unpick the lock. He's not really been a favourite of Amorim's, Finn, and we'll be talking about how Bruno has been slightly wasteful. I wouldn't like to see Ericsson in the middle with Mateta running at him.
No, exactly. That's the concern that you'd have against any opposition that's physical and fast. He's just not someone that...
Newcastle is a great example of
Yeah,
that.
he can't keep up. And yeah, it's all good and well saying, well, he can pick the lock against a low block. And he can find really nice solutions in possession. And he's capable of those really kind of delicate passes like we saw for when Ahmad scored his hat-trick, that third goal where he just kind of dinked it over first time. He's capable of magic like that. But against opposition like this, I think the negative of his out of possession deficiencies outweighs what he can bring on the ball. And so he's not really a player that I'd be looking to bring on in the second half.
There's probably more risk than the gambles were.
Yeah, I think so. And obviously, I think Bruno does bring a lot of what Ericsson can offer on the ball. Obviously, sometimes he's a little bit more wasteful. There was one really frustrating moment in that half where he just cleared it completely unnecessarily under not much pressure when we could have had a chance to break quite well.
Kenny said the first 20 minutes looked great. I agree with that. Discombobulate on the super chat. Delo is nothing more than a good squad player to have. He's so inconvenient to how Amorim wants to play. Right, only a few minutes until the second half kicks off. What substitution would you make? Would you bring a striker on? That's what I'm going to ask Ronnie now. Xerxes or Højlund?
I think if you're going for box presence, then I would say Højlund's probably a better option. But it's just about where his confidence lies, because I know he's had a lot of difficulty over the past few weeks. It's a confidence position up front.
I think back to that run he had. Was it last season where he scored in like 7 or 8 consecutive games?
Yes.
You know, unless you go through like a really long injury bout or something like that, you don't just lose that. You know, it's still got to be in him somewhere. And so I've still got faith in Højlund that, you know, given the right opportunity and the right environment, he will step up and be able to score goals. And, you know, strikers tend to be late bloomers. I think our perspective of strikers is kind of warped a little bit by the likes of Haaland and Mbappe, who are just these generational freaks of nature who just score. They, you know, run straight onto the game and they score 30, 40 goals a season. But a lot of the great strikers from the last 10 years really kind of had their breakthrough at 25, 26.
Yes.
And it could be the same for Højlund. So I'd keep patience. But he's probably who I'd bring on, to be honest. I think he's a bit more threatening than Xerxes. I think Xerxes can be a bit passive and doesn't really have that killer instinct in him.
Yeah. Do you know what? With what you said, it's just more like a lot of the attacking situations that we got into without that cutting edge at the end of it, or without that presence at the end, did materialise from Manu and his ability to receive the ball in the pockets and to hold up the ball and almost be a focal point in that sense to end up getting to that area.
Yeah.
So what happens
would
is
those chances materialise if he was on the pitch?
That's
anyway?
what I mean.
Yeah.
So like if you bring on like a Højlund and a Xerxes up front, do you have that same type of connectivity to get to the area of where, oh shit, we need a striker there? That's the only issue that I've got.
Yeah, you have the sort of person who can put the ball in the back of the net, but you haven't got the makeup behind to
great.
get him the ball. It's a lesser of the two evils, and obviously a work in progress. But what did you go for? You said 0-0.
I said 0-0
and then you went
before.
toilet, and then you came back and you said it was going to be 4-3.
Yeah, I know.
Where are you now?
I think it's going to be 1 goal, innit?
1 goal to the good.
I think
it could go either way. It does feel like that sort of game.
I think 1-1.
1-1.
I think we score, but I think they get a bit of added impetus from their bench options, and they nick one as well. And I think it'll end up 1-1.
Do you think that they've got more sort of energy and enthusiasm to come off the bench?
Yeah,
whereas I think there's a lot more question marks with who we can bring on. We don't know what Højlund's going to turn up. We don't know what Xerxes would turn up if they came on.
It won't surprise me if they make changes at half time. I think that Kamada's been non-existent, but I think Sarr and Mateta have been relatively dangerous. They can easily bring on Eneze and replace him, and that's just a whole other problem with his ability to carry the ball. And he's just the exact type of player that we hate playing against. So what change I'd make? These are difficulties that we've got. I think the obvious one is to bring on a striker, but then you're worried about whether you lose that little bit of hold up and fluidity up front that we did have in the first place, and it goes back to the fact that we actually struggled to get into those areas.
Yeah, it'd be interesting how we come out in the second half, because we certainly started better in the first half than we have of late. Nick Harrison, I said 0-0 before the game, and I'm sticking with it. Danny says Garnacho and Ahmad go wing backs and bring on Højlund and Xerxes and go all out attack. That's a roll of the dice.
That is a mad roll of the dice, especially against a team that has the threat that Palace pose. But I think if you're chasing the game, that's almost like a FIFA. It's like something for you.
That's like a cup final decision.
Ultra attack lasts 10 minutes, and you've just kind of gone everyone up.
How important is a win today?
It's important. United are trying to. United need to win games. I think we've got an outside chance of probably making the Europa League places again. I think every game wins are important. With the way that United are, the way that we are now, we can't afford to drop, especially when the league's become almost championship-ified.
Yeah.
Where a few bad results and results not going your way around you, and then all of a sudden United are in 15th, 16th place, and that's never a good thing.
No, it's not. I mean, he did seem to suggest he was prioritising the Europa League, Finn. In terms of if this game was to finish 0-0, that sort of dampen morale after everything of late?
Yeah, I think it would be a bit of a hit to the mood, because it feels like we're starting to build a little bit of momentum, but historically, in the last year or so, whenever something really good happens and we feel like, maybe we're making a breakthrough here, maybe we're turning the corner, it always feels like the next game is a loss that could have been avoided easily, and then it suddenly feels like back to square one. Yeah. And it's hard not to feel overly negative, but I think it's important to remember that this is a long process and there will be hiccups and ups and downs. And one result doesn't dictate the direction of a project, but it would be nice to just get a win and kind of, get some progress going and maybe move up the table a little bit. Not that it will probably matter that much in the grand scheme of things now, but
yeah, I mean, particularly with it being the last day of the transfer window coming up as well, and then if we were to drop points and all that, and we didn't sign a striker, I'm not going on Twitter for a week because it was just
be hell, won't it?
Yeah,
an absolute nightmare.
We're back off again. Get your score predictions in for the second half, 0-0.
There you go.
Interesting to see if we keep with Mainu in the middle or
start Bright again. Didn't pass save side, did we? No changes either way, innit?
No.
Good play by
Maguire's done that well.
Come on!
It's just where he struggles there, innit, when he's up against a physical defender.
Yeah, he hasn't quite got that burst that you hope for.
Yeah. See, the tempos start second half at least a little bit faster.
Yeah.
And that's been something we've struggled with, though. Coming out from the first whistle or the half-time whistle, we've been very slow out of the blocks.
Yeah, it's good to see a little bit more urgency than we used to.
Enter the void, let's bring on the obvious. Nobody knows what that is.
No.
Go on.
Oh, that was a poor decision from Mazraoui.
Just needs to be in the gap.
Apparently with Spurs, because Spurs are winning 1-0, this is an important game now.
For the Spurs United
6 points.
Shit race.
Yeah.
Spurs are the barometer, right? It's like, if you're above Spurs, shit isn't that bad.
Yeah.
It could be worse.
It could be a lot worse. Oh, there's a wild card. Rob 96. I actually think that Casemiro on late to snatch something from a set piece if we need. Didn't Casemiro get sent off against Palace for snatching something?
Yeah. That's someone's neck. Go on.
Go on, Cobbe.
You just want that in front of that.
Yeah. But he did well to create the separation there.
Even there, just Maz running past the ball.
Do you think Cobbe looks a little bit more mobile than he has earlier in the season? I think some fans said he looked a little bit stiff.
He did. I would actually agree. I'm a Manu guy. I feel like he did look a little bit
a bit heavy.
Heavy.
He looked leggy, didn't he? Like,
Yeah.
especially when he come back. Yeah.
But I think he's moving well today.
Here's a man
Yeah.
after my own heart. Played out. Premier League matches are for practice. Europa is key.
Exactly.
Europa, you know, key.
Do you not still think we can win it?
Of course, we've got a chance. Still got to improve performances though. Still definitely got to improve performances.
Dezu no Suto Reiki. Bring Collier on, push Manu up, and bring Hoyland on.
Push Manu up to where?
The Stretford end?
I don't know, man. Goal hang City. Got the better of Maguire there, didn't he? Been battling them two, but Maguire, I don't feel like he's that hurt, you know.
Is he laughing?
Looks like he's laughing.
Yeah. Oh, he's all right.
Do you know what I mean? I can't. Shirt tucked in. Shirt tucked in, thermal. He's got an interesting aesthetic.
There's a lot of rolls, man.
Who have they got? Oh, he's fine. You knew. Stuff like this was why games were like having 10 minutes added on. Feels like this free kick was given 2 minutes ago.
He didn't stop rolling for 2 minutes. Ahmad needs to be sharper. V2 says.
Oh man, hold it. Yeah.
Well worked set play by Palace.
Get it off.
Come on now.
There we go.
Bit
Space
loopy.
to break now.
Like, give him an option, Ahmad.
Come on, but then who's in the middle?
You got Will Hughes. Take him on.
Hit
Go
it.
on.
Whoa!
Yes!
Oh, what a save.
Shit.
Brilliant save.
What a save. It's a good move that
Yeah,
Onana,
really.
not hanging around, getting the ball out to Mazraoui.
Really well
Good
cut
pass.
back.
To Ahmad, cutbacks to Bruno. It's a little bit,
A little bit central, isn't
yeah,
it?
it was, wasn't it? It looked a better
I think
effort
he
in
just
real
already-
time.
yeah.
It's something though.
It's on target at
On
least.
target, there we go.
Hey.
We didn't do that in the first half. Come on, Bruno. Maybe Lindelof for Mazraoui. Oh,
Hey,
Jesus.
someone's Sunday drinking.
it's interesting.
Lindelof wing back.
Yeah.
Lord. Have
Is that a
mercy.
mistake? Come on.
Not as dangerous as the Ahmad ones.
Oh.
That's come off us as well, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Maybe do get him on.
I feel like he could have just shifted. Speculative though, he could have just shifted that. Keep the pressure on. It was like a bit of a bailout with that shot. See, they've already started taking a while with things, innit? Palace. Already time wasting a bit. Go on.
Well
Get out, maybe.
played. Great pressing there.
I've always wondered, obviously, I could have a hair like that if I want, but I feel like having an afro like that, I just want to know how practical it is.
Would it be harder to maintain? Or?
Yeah, but it's just like stuff like sleeping and that, or is it just like an extra cushion?
You'd have to get a big
It's like a
hat.
little bike helmet, isn't it?
Yeah.
You hit your head.
Go on. Or
Started nice again though.
Yeah, we're moving it nicely.
Well
It's
played.
beautiful.
I love Martinez in that position when he
Yeah,
doesn't
he's-
half find some great passes.
Yeah.
proper line breaker. innit?
Yeah.
Bruno's hurt.
Is that
Bruno's.
He's indestructible though. Oh.
Yeah, I was worried about saying it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ooh, that was high though.
VAR.
Straight red that.
It's basically what he got sent off for.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing against Spurs.
Yeah.
Will Hughes is another one that was a.
Was that Casemiro's
mate? He was a wonder kid, Will Hughes, wasn't he?
Before my time.
Before your time, he was like, he broke through at like Derby when he was like 16, 17,
really?
playing first team football. He was meant to be like the next big thing. He still had a decent career for himself.
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Premier League player.
Yeah, slightly before your time. Forget I'm a good like, what are you, 19?
19,
yeah. I'm a good 7 years. I'm 26. How old are you, Scotty?
Slightly bigger gap.
Yeah. 52.
You're 52?
Fuck.
What? What the fuck? Man. Early 40s, isn't it?
Yeah. Younger than my bald friend, that's for sure.
Go on, Harry.
Go on, Harry.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa! Oh, shit.
Is that not in?
Okay, now, man.
He hit that.
This is why it sounds bad because I wish we could score 4 or 5, but this is why Henderson's in goal for me on fantasy.
Yeah,
I didn't really. I felt like we'd struggle to score against Palace today.
So it was his foot as well.
And Maguire ready to pounce now, isn't it?
Come on
now.
Go on.
He's made it difficult there, hasn't he?
Oh, lovely play.
Every one of those passes was slightly off in that sequence, and yet we're still going.
Go on. Almost caught that, mate.
Was that a free kick to Palace? Yeah, it wasn't pretty, but it worked.
Yeah.
For a while. We've had 2 shots on target in the first 10 minutes. We're going to do that in 45 minutes in the first half. It's interesting.
Yeah. Never getting that, but still. So can he VAR that?
Ahmad seems to be having to drift in a lot more this half because I don't seem to get much play down his wing.
That's the problem. The solution for these players isn't to like become more balanced. It's just for everyone to go to the left so they can get involved.
Yeah. YouTube said what is a penalty then? F these officials.
What, for the one on Ahmad?
Yeah.
Not sure about that.
Fuck's sake. It was a slight tug, but it wasn't like anything too heavy. See, this is a similar thing. We have a decent start and then 10 minutes.
So it dies down, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Dies down a bit after.
Hoyle looks like, well, he's up and down the touchline. I won't say that's warming up with you, sir. He's walking.
Cooling down.
Was he off?
Go on.
Oh!
I think he was off.
Oh, I think he was on as well, man. It's just
really
good defending by Gay. What a pass from Martinez.
Yeah, great ball that.
Oh, he was on as well. Wow.
What a pass.
Yeah, really good defending.
Right. They're good defensively, aren't they, Palace?
Yeah, really good.
Come on.
Right on.
Oh, come off. Oh.
That's why the keeper's meant to get blocked there, man.
United in shocking news were shit at set pieces.
So, what's happened then to Finn, do you reckon? I know his injuries might be part of it, but the Adam Wharton heights dimmed a little bit.
Yeah, I think it might be indicative of
shit, that's
the environment at Palace because they kind of fell off a little bit, but I think he's still a player with a lot of quality. Like, he doesn't, he got into that England squad, which says a lot. But he's also, like Mainu, he's not a player with the best athletic qualities, and so I think he needs to play next to a bit of a destroyer and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if he's kind of best platformed at Palace for that. But I think there's definitely still going to be a lot of interest from big clubs in him, because that kind of passing ability between through the lines is very valuable.
Yeah, it could be like a Man City. I know Man City for midfielders. I know they were linked to that Nico Gonzalez from Porto.
Yeah.
For an end of Jan move, but I feel like midfielders are not really that fruitful of a position currently in the market. Well, that we know of anyway. Obviously, people might be more privy than me. It doesn't seem like there's a standout, attainable midfield youngster. Kind of concerned there, yeah. Jesus,
well done, my boy. Nice.
Oh,
he almost kept hold of that.
He did well there, considering.
That's the sort of thing that I expect Mainu to end up wriggling out with the ball somehow. Really good at that sort of stuff. He said deal with that. He did. Yeah. Good play.
It looks like Palace are making a sub. 15 minutes in.
Eze.
Yeah, Eze's coming on. You expecting Amorim to do anything, Finn? And if so, what would you look at now?
I wouldn't be surprised if he did bring Højlund on. I think that's the obvious kind of next step to bring a natural. Well, up front for. I know he's been bright, but I would take off Garnacho just because I think Ahmad's always got a goal in him.
Yeah.
And then I'd move Kobe to the 10 position on the left and Rasmus up top. Eze's not the player you want to see coming on here, is it?
Yeah.
He's
got that nonchalant style, but he's a glider, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, what pass.
Well, he's fallen a little bit out of faith recently, hasn't he?
I was going to say, how come he didn't start?
He's not performed the best this season.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Ooh. Palace with a terrible effort from about 18 yards out. A lot of people shout, well, Casemiro.
I'm not sure I get that,
no.
to be honest. Maybe off a set piece later on.
Yeah, so that's what Dan Burgess said.
Not before a goal scorer,
As he's getting ready, but the commentators are saying he shouldn't even have made the match day squad.
Must have been injured. Are you trying to find out if they've scored or not?
No.
Oh.
Right, I've not scrolled that far down. Mazraoui's been poor. Mazraoui's been shocking this game.
Usually about a minute or so or less, maybe. Sometimes less.
Yeah.
Probably like 40 seconds, I reckon.
Go on, Ahmad.
Go on.
Strong boy gay, innit? Over the Chelsea pipeline.
It's crazy how many players they've produced that are at top clubs now.
Even Tomori's was linked to Spurs from AC Milan, but he turned again like Tell.
Everyone's turning Spurs now.
Tomori's the one that kind of said he doesn't want to go to Spurs, obviously. Yeah. Probably enjoying Milan life as well.
Yeah.
That looks like what Man United are trying to replicate, though, isn't it? With PSR, sort of the Chelsea production line.
United are more likely to hold on to their talents, though, until they know they're not good enough.
I think that's how we were in the past. I don't think that's how we'll be in the future.
Chelsea's City less so outside of like Foden. Obviously, Oscar Bob's come through. Palmer as well.
What about Delap?
Liam Delap's another one. But it's more like even Brahim Diaz. Does Jadon Sancho count?
Yeah, I think so.
Jeremy Frimpong.
Yeah. Bruno Gittins as well now.
Yeah. But Chelsea, they just have... Even in their teams, like when Mount was put, like it seemed like their team's always littered full of like academy graduates.
Yeah.
Even like
when they got the transfer ban, they all came through.
Is anyone? Obviously, it's not it's all about Chelsea. But is there anyone bright in the Chelsea academy that can break through next?
Yeah, they've actually got some really good players. There's a striker called Shamira Mweka.
Okay.
He's kind of a bit of like a Drogba regen. He can hold the ball up really well, and he's like stocky and really strong. But he's got a finish on him too.
Is he? How old is he?
He's 16,
So
I think, or 17.
Might not have the height then.
No, he's not that tall. They signed him from Brighton. I think he was like the most expensive 14-year-old ever or something like that. It was like 2 million.
That's how Chelsea.
Really
Imagine being 14 and someone's banging out 2 mil for it.
Yeah. But they've got an under-16 side right now that everyone's caught on to as just one of the most insane age groups that they've seen in years. Apparently, it's just another little golden generation.
Shit. Oh. Shit. Fuck's sake.
Fuck.
Onana's parried that out straight back into
him, isn't it?
That did look like another Onana calamity. Similar to the first half, except for Palace scored through there, getting back in the game.
Onana always makes a weird error, but then he always has that weird, like, sheepish, awkward smile on his face afterwards that pisses me off.
The ball
is that Eze with the ball?
Eze. Header.
It's not him.
It's
not
okay.
his fault. It's a good header
Just
off the
bar.
That's not on Onana at all.
Straight off the bar. Yeah.
Lenioro gets beat in the air there. And then and then
Maguire's watching the ball instead of his man there.
Yeah, true.
Look.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake.
That's poor.
Yeah, it was a good.
Oh dear.
25 minutes to salvage this.
Yeah, man. Amorim's going to have to make a change now.
Yeah, he surely brings on Rasmus now.
Yeah, he's definitely going to bring on a striker. It's just going to be obvious. Go on.
Is that out for a corner?
Is that like the 20? That would have been like the 20th corner, innit, surely?
What's Bruno got a yellow for?
Probably moaning about something.
Yeah.
You know, the usual. I do see they're gonna set off. Oh,
Go on.
They are gonna sit deep now, and it's just gonna be like.
Well done, Ahmad.
Can't be dropping more points at home, lads. Fucking hell.
Good run from Maz. Go on. Need to pick the intensity up and the urgency a little bit, though, man.
Who's that?
Like we're too slow on the restarts. He's caught him there on the
Cobble on the fire there, Garnacho. Surprising there's still no subs. Got to try and make something now, United. Philip Owen with a super chat. Amorim ball is like watching Subutio.
I don't even know that reference.
Neither.
I'll take this one for the oldies. Shut up, Ethan.
I mean, just a bit young.
There's these little wobbly players that you used to pass.
Fucking play, Martinez.
Not sold them, Ronaldo.
Yeah?
I was trying to explain Subutio. You can piss off, go on Wikipedia or something.
Man. Just glides. Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
That ball carrying is a bit of a concern. Oh my days.
Does him completely there.
Xerxes gone for then.
Interesting.
I think Ahmad to wing back.
Shit.
He might come on for Mazraoui.
Come on, Lenny. Better than that.
It's gone all a bit sloppy and chaotic, isn't it?
As you'd expect, though, Palace have been infused by the goal. They weren't really. They were getting more into it, but United have certainly fell on the back foot and gone one down.
Is Fernandes alright?
Oh, Xerxes and Højlund.
Tying his shoes, I think. Yeah, like we said before the game.
Yeah, gone for
interesting now.
Double whammy. Yeah.
So who's it going to be? Probably Mainu and Garnacho. Actually, hopefully he takes one of the wing backs off.
Yeah, maybe it'll be Delo and Mazraoui.
I think it might be. Or you know what he does? He might take off Euro.
What, and put Dalot right centre back or Mazraoui?
Maz right centre half. Oh my God!
That looked a lot more dangerous. Come on, United! This is pathetic. Can't get out of the box. Fucking idiots.
Fuck's sake, man.
Jake Bennett, Onana, terrible error. How can you?
Who?
Mainu Mazraoui.
How can you advance up the table if your keeper is consistently giving up cheap goals?
That wasn't on Onana though.
We gave up the
did
hay
look
for
like
this.
it
It did initially, didn't it? Ryan Tamasibi says, awful from Amorim. He's totally wasted Mainu today. Needed to be in a number 10 role again.
I kind of agree a little bit. Just because he's able to express himself from the 10 position, and he was isolated today. He didn't get on the ball much, and
yeah,
you know, you see his best game when he's on the ball. So
it was a bold move. I think everyone was sort of wondering who was going to be playing up top. At least he knows now. Would you want to see Mainu in that position again after that? No,
I don't think there's any need to be honest. You know, play a proven goal scorer there, and then let Mainu shine in a more creative role.
Yeah,
because that's where his best game comes out.
You hope that what can be the productive thing out of Mainu playing up front is that both Xerxes and Højlund go, right, I'll show you how it's done.
Yeah. Fingers crossed that's what they'll do now when they come on. I've still got a lot of hope in Højlund long term, but I just think it could take some time.
Højlund's actually the right 10.
Is he?
Interesting. Fuck's sake.
Great ball in the box by Palace.
Garnacho left 10 or wing back?
Okay, now.
So much space in the middle now. Come on.
Right, come on now, United.
We got weird that. Let's go on.
Who's there?
Tactical foul there, innit? Well, he was trying to say that was a foul on Eze.
Oh, fuck.
About as blatant as you get there.
He's had about 5 or 6 of them. Last the yellow card.
This game's just showing me that we can't end the window without signing an attacker. And then people have also said to me, we're forgetting that we have our number 7.
Mason Mount.
Yeah. It's just like, you forget about him, because he's going to be like a forward option.
Oh, that was nice.
Has he played at all under? He has played under Ruben, hasn't he?
Get it in.
Go on.
Oh.
What's he doing? Just needs to hit it there.
I don't understand what he was doing there.
Oh yeah.
Go on, Ahmed. Oh.
Never one of his best games, Ahmad. Well, Bruno was doing there. Ran in, then ran back out.
Yeah, I know.
I like the fact that he paused initially, but then he just needed to fire it.
We'll go back.
He used to do better than that.
Just hit the target.
He scored a lot of like screamers from long range at Sunderland.
Sunderland not here
I
yet.
think we're due one of them at some point. Just get it on the ground.
Is that throwing that?
Yeah.
There's been a more of an element of desperation about United's.
Yeah, it's gone a bit more urgency at least, but it's just not cutting edge yet.
There's no fluidity in it though, is there? It seems that they've scored and we just seems to be like, right, quick, we've got to do something.
Fuck's sake. Square pass.
You got it with a yellow.
Fuck's sake. Sometimes just doesn't decelerate, innit?
A lot of muted United fans there on tele. Not really surprising.
There's nothing really to get him on the edge of their seat, though. It's just
Mark Bright, the old Palace legend.
it's an interesting place to take a free kick like this from. It's like Stoke, like.
It worked.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not
Palace
sure.
Lumped the ball in from about 40 yards.
Yeah, but what stops Onana from just going and collecting that ball, though?
Onana.
If you're a keeper there,
Was
you
Dalot
look,
in
no
his
one in
way?
front of you, head that down, go and collect it. Do you know what I mean?
Dallow's in his way a bit, to be fair. But
Just doesn't look. Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, I knew it. Just got bullied a bit. Oh, fuck's sake.
Is it his knee? Or?
Yeah.
Martinez going off.
That's why we signed David
Knee
Nevin.
again, is it the same knee?
It looks like he knew straight away, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
See, he's
dear.
breathing heavy now. Shit.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Just don't be ligaments.
Ooh, it doesn't look great. The way that jars. Look.
Oh.
Oh, that could be really bad.
Yeah.
See now, innit?
It's just.
Martinez down.
Damn,
In
he's really hurt.
hell of a lot of pain now.
Adrenaline's worn off a little bit.
Yeah. As soon as it happened, he set up saying he needs to come off, so
Yeah.
it's like something he's felt before.
Shit.
Dillick coming on, it looks like. Might be a while yet, though. Fucking hell. Should Onana do better with the original header?
I don't think you can
Hit the
put
bar,
it down
didn't it?
to him much.
Someone's gonna say, could he tip it over the bar? But I'm like, no, I think
Yeah.
you're getting a little bit harsh when you start saying that.
Well, do you think it's more of a good header than...
Yeah.
This isn't good.
Alright. We're into the phase now where people are mentioning Paul Pogba's name
In what context?
for him to be coming back to Old Trafford. Wavy 80. People shouting Amorim out, need to go and find another club to support.
I agree.
Alpha Omega with the super chat. Not that impressed by the team set up today. Could at least have pretended that we wanted goals. I mean, I've not seen Hoyland do anything since he's come on the pitch, and that's not indicative of him.
Yeah,
but again, it's the lack of getting the ball to him.
Fucking hell. Heaven's gates might have opened for
true.
for my man.
Ned the Red, we
Politic.
were fine the
Yeah.
first half, lost composure after the goal. Certainly agree with that.
He's probably licking his lips, isn't he, from the stands?
Yeah, I know. I feel like whenever you get a bad injury like this as well, it kind of, the game always goes into like massive lull after it as
Yeah,
well.
they'll just play it out now, won't they? Obviously, Dorgu is probably the only sign that's going to go straight. They can go straight into the 11. Does he change what we've seen today massively?
I think you'd
Is
see
he
us
gonna
get the
score
ball
goals?
into the box a little bit more with someone like that. You know, it takes we see a lot of kind of intricate passes around the edge of the box, and then no real penetrative passing. Whereas I think he can bring that a little bit.
Yeah.
He has got a goal in him, but I don't think we can rely on him.
Just rely on the
for
right
yeah.
wing back to score our goals.
Yeah. But I think he just brings a little bit more. We talk about also that spark that was missing. He's got a lot of intensity about him and inventiveness in the final third, and I think he just bring a lot more energy than we're used to seeing maybe from a Dalot or Mazraoui. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him come in.
But we should expect an improvement, but obviously it's not going to be.
He's not going
to change.
We're not going to become title contenders because of him.
It's the thing though, isn't it? It's like how the passes can be cute and intricate, and you can find great angles, and it was nice to see in the first 10 minutes how they were finding each other.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's meaningless if it's not leading to something.
Unless you can find that final ball, then it's all for nothing.
Passing for passing's sake.
Yeah.
So does this mean like we have no choice but for Luke Shaw to stay fit now? Because he was.
Well, yeah, unless we're playing Aiden Heaven or Kakonki, someone like that, left centre back.
You know how it works. So they'll United 100% shoot Luke Shaw ahead of them, innit?
Yeah, they will.
That's what he. I know you definitely think would love it. Where like not love it, but similar to what happened to Chelsea, where like you're getting a transfer ban and then you almost like
it'd be good for me, yeah.
And then some of them might sink or swim, and then some of them might swim a lot better than you think they would.
I do think there are situations where you miss out on gems because they just didn't get the chance, and a situation like that, a transfer ban, is where you find out who can contribute.
Yeah,
he's thinking before your time or around it.
Who?
James Garner.
He was like just when I kind of started. He was around the under-21s.
Yeah, he's carving out an alright career for himself at Everton in the Premier League still. So.
That analogy that you made there about the players that can sink or swim in that atmosphere. One player that came through the academy and was only given a little bit of a cameo and is playing well now, Alanga.
Yeah.
Where do you see that? Is that something that have we messed up there?
Yeah.
In your opinion? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have. I was saying before he was leaving, I'd prefer him to Rashford and possibly even Garnacho long term. I saw his trajectory. A lot of it is the athletic qualities that he brings, and it's what we lack so sorely. I think if Ineos were in charge, we would not have let go of Alanga. I don't necessarily think he'd come in again and change everything, but he's not the type of profile that you can let go of when you've got players like Anthony in the squad.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially for the low fee that we got for him.
Do you think that, would you put that down to a board move, or is it
Yeah, apparently
Ten Hag?
It must be a bit of both, to be honest, because clearly Ten Hag didn't rate him enough to use him, and then the board weren't in opposition of that enough as they should be. So a bit of both. He was really well liked under Ralph Rangnick, who obviously he was very criticised, but he does have a superb eye for talent. That's what his whole career has been based on. So I think you've got to look at that and count it for something.
Martinez has been stretchered off. Fingers crossed it isn't as bad as it looks, but it doesn't look good at all. Dillitt's come on in his place. 83 minutes, probably going to get about another 6 injury time.
Looks like Euro's actually dropped into the left side and then Dillitt to the right. It's good to see that he's comfortable on each side.
Not a great set there from Ghana.
Palace look like they've got the tail up here now, though, don't they, since they've scored and Martinez has come off.
The way Martinez landed there, I'm already thinking ACL.
A lot of people saying it. A lot of people saying ACL on here.
I thought ACL, like maybe even patella.
Yeah.
Come on.
Go on. Was there a push?
Vieira.
Oh! Was it looking?
Let's see.
Ahmad doesn't seem to be appealing much.
Basically like a tangle of legs almost.
Nothing.
I haven't really seen much of the two forwards since.
No.
Don't think they've touched the ball.
Xerxes had a little movement out on the wing, but that's about it, wasn't it?
What a ball.
Oh.
Ahmad slipped and they're through.
Ahmad.
It's well cut out.
And again,
Great
and
pass.
again. Come on now.
Just a bit loose.
We're just not quick enough there.
Palace get back in numbers, though, don't they? Every time we've been on attack today, really.
Corner number 170 for us.
Am I right in thinking we only had them 2 chances in the first 10 minutes of this half that were on target all game?
Yeah, I think so.
10th corner. East Lemon had one.
He's just not a good taker.
Too floaty, woaty, man. Don't have enough conviction on this, on the corners.
I wonder what the XG is.
Ericsson coming on.
A lot of people are arguing about whether Onana was at fault for the goal.
I'm not sure he was, to be fair.
Ugarte for Ericsson. That'd be interesting. This is a roll of the dice because they've been ridiculously energetic in the middle. I always think it should be one or the other between Bruno and Ericsson.
Yeah.
And keep Ugarte on at all costs, or someone of his
who's got legs.
Yeah.
Here's Adam Wharton.
Yeah.
Is that Nathaniel Klein in 2025?
Yes.
And Spurs are beating Brentford by 2-0. The goal by Sarr.
You got the assist?
I don't know, it's not written down.
We've got Kulusevski on my team, that's why. How long do you reckon we got? Like 10 minutes to go.
Yeah. Ray D, the JD with the super chat. This hurts. Leacher loves the club. Hopefully it's just a bad strain or
Clean sheet.
medial ligament gandol.
Yeah, you just got to hope it's not as bad as it looks, but it did look like a bad one.
Mark Hatton, who's been a member for 50 months. Not a fan of constantly rotating the back line. If this is Martinez out now, I'd like to see some consistency. It's just disappeared.
Shit.
Surely he was off.
No, I don't think he was. Fuck's sake. I think he's onside as well. 2-0, Mateta.
Game over.
See what VAR says, but he did look like one of those weird ones where there was someone far right maybe keeping him on. Might have been Delit.
He's been their best player on it today. Those.
Yeah, he's been fantastic, to be fair.
Is it? I think it's Maguire's a bit deep. Yeah, Maguire too deep.
That's that then.
Game over probably.
Yeah.
That's the difference. They've got someone like Mateta who can score goals and we haven't. Are you putting up fault for that, Ronnie?
Maguire, I think Maguire's stepping up with no pressure on the ball. Can't do that.
Finn?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Similar to the first.
He's played him on there.
Yeah, similar to the first goal where Maguire should have been looking at his defender when it came off the bat rather than watching the bar.
Possibly, yeah. Don't want to put it all on him because I think he's been quite impressive on the ball, but
yeah. Oh.
It's just depressing.
Mm.
And Amorim's got to face the media.
I mean, we'll talk about Amorim. 9 minutes of injury time. There's still hope yet then.
Yeah, go on.
Is that a hand?
Ball.
Come on. That's nice, Bruno.
Is you right? Okay, no, Bruno. Go on. Go back to him.
Have a shot.
It's fair. They close the space well. To be fair.
Yeah.
You know what?
Such a bad ball.
11th corner.
Do well to get something out of that. Can actually.
He's been pretty industrious, but to no end. Looks busy.
Yeah.
He always does look busy. He's a volume player as well.
Let's see if Eriksen can take a corner better than Bruno.
Garnacho was always someone that feels like a threat, doesn't he? He always feels like it, whether it actually becomes.
He's always getting in the right positions and.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on!
Oh,
why didn't he go for goal there? He had loads of time there to direct that ball.
Head it into the bottom corner, man. Jesus Christ.
That was like a sweet floating ball over. He had
lovely.
loads of time.
Yeah.
Loads of time to direct that.
Right.
Beautiful ball from Ahmad.
Yeah.
No one on him.
Palace have defended so well, though. I will give it them.
Yeah.
I'll give it them.
I'll counter that with we've not attacked too good. The back in numbers a lot.
Could be a bit of mutualism between the two, innit?
Maguire's too slow to be a top defender. That's a Dan Finich. People are shouting for Mike Phelan to come back in. That's where we're at.
Someone's probably bring back Ten Hag comments in there, isn't it?
People are saying Ten Hag out. Maguire the meme. Here comes the championship. Red Jedi said you're all stopped for offside in their goal.
I don't know.
Look how quick they get back.
Yeah. Five minutes left. Can United get anything? Resembles a half decent chance.
Yeah, it feels like it's...
Any ball that's coming through to Xerxes and I'm leading is a rarity, and Hoyland's had next to nothing to feed on since he's come on the pitch. And Palace have all men behind the ball now, look.
Come on.
Go on.
Oh,
Don't go back to the keeper. Don't you dare.
So loose.
Go on.
Come on.
Wrong. Right. There's an overload on the other side.
Oh my God, that is so bad. Xerxes, man.
I think he went the wrong way, though. I felt like we had a 2v1 on the other side.
He went the wrong way and the pass was completely wrong.
Too much.
It's not hurt, is he?
Thomas Clark saying formation is diabolical.
I don't think you can put it down to the formation. I think that's a simplification of the problem. There's personnel issues across the pitch.
Yes.
Timothy Hogan, this is bullshit. I'm so disappointed.
I feel like there's always a slap in the face around the corner when you support United these days. Just never know when it's coming. Devaney, probably some random academy player, isn't he?
Yeah, I haven't heard of him, to be fair.
Lee Binion is a member for 3 months. Said, how Xerxes ever got young player of the season at Bologna amazes me.
He's been very, very sloppy with the cameo, man.
Jake Bennett, super chat. Ten Hag recruitment on display. He has caused irrevocable damage.
Irrevocable.
My amateur said back 3 whilst losing 2-0 at Old Trafford. Andre Augustus. It doesn't matter if we're playing 3 or 4 at the back. It doesn't matter if it's Ten Hag or Amorim. These players aren't good enough. Cash Daniel with a super chat. Hoyland is horrendous. Get rid of this dunce.
Yeah.
There's no way that Amorim's not going in asking for a striker now, though, is it? Especially with Rashford's gone.
Yeah. Well, I just hope they get Matisse Tell over the line.
It seems he wants the United move.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. I don't know why. But
well, evidently you can see there, Finn, by losing 2-0 at Man United, he's definitely going to get games.
Yeah, true.
Oh, there's a reference for you. Elmo Chacho, 3. Hoyland is on par with Antony.
Fuck's sake, man. Don't lose it. You know, 1 minute to score 2. Go on, man.
I take 1 at this stage.
Oh,
Come on,
fuck's
Amon.
sake, man.
Decisions across the pitch have just been off today.
Tentative in the last bit.
Maguire's up the pitch. Come on.
Garnacho tried to...
It's a bicycle kick assist.
It's a nice idea, in fairness.
Niche.
Yeah, feels like it's not happening today, lads.
No, it's
and
definitely
then
not happening
Delo
today.
almost like giving a throwing away for some.
Poopy Snooper. Super chat. Ruben has somehow made these players worse.
Don't think that's
I
fair.
think the bar was very high before he came in. L super chat. The issue is this will take years to turn the squad into a 3-4-2-1 team. Manchester United have got beat at home by Crystal Palace by 2-0. There was a lot of confusion about what the starting lineup was going to be, with Kobe Mainoo surprisingly taking the centre forwards position. Was that a right decision or not? We'll be getting into that in the post-match analysis. But Finn, just a few words to sum up that.
Sad. It's just depressing, isn't it? You know, there are bright glimpses there early in both halves, to be fair, and then it just fizzles out. We don't take advantage of our opportunities, and they do. That's what it came down to. It's just sad.
Do you put any blame on Amorim?
I don't think he's entirely blameless in any of these games, but he's certainly not the first person that I look to. I think the squad is very, very clearly not up to scratch. You know, these players constantly make the wrong decisions. They lose their duels. It's clearly a personnel thing. I think a lot of fans who say, "Oh, it's the 3-4-3 that's the reason that we're shit." It's not. It's kind of senseless. You know, we've played a 4 at the back for the last decade. It's not the single, decisive factor that's suddenly going to make us a good football team again. I think it's just confirms what we already know, that the squad needs a massive overhaul. So I'm sure there are things that Amorim could have done differently, but it's just not what I look to start with.
Ronaldo, sum that defeat up. How are you feeling?
Just think poor, flat, uninspiring, tepid in the final third. And when things get a little bit stretched, we're too easy to play against defensively as well. And physicality issues, technical issues, it's just an array of problems at United right now.
Yeah, and we'll be discussing them array of problems in the post-match review. If you stay on this link, it'll take you through in just a few minutes, and we'll go over that. You know, Manchester United got beat by Palace by 2-0 at Old Trafford, but it's all about the Europa League anyway, and we'll discuss that soon.